90th South. That's mostly cleared out now as you head down towards Utah County. On the northbound side of I-15 in the Salt Lake Valley, we don't see any slowing at all. Likewise, over on the west side of the valley, it's looking pretty good. The heaviest and thickest spot remains 2100 north in Lehigh. It's very, very heavy all the way from basically Redwood Road over to I-15 at this point. Just a lot of cars on the road there, and they get stacked up at this time of the morning. Andy?
South 15, delays have mostly cleared out. In fact, you're only going to see slowdowns if you're driving through Salt Lake City. If you're coming to it and exiting at 600 North, you'll be fine. You won't have any delay at all, but it only slows down a little bit after that 600 North exit. I-80 stop and go between Kimball Junction and Highway 40 right now. Let Zerorez make your carpet new again. Call 866-ZERO-RES or go online to zerorez.com to schedule your appointment today.
Today, we've got a chance of rain. We've got some dark clouds out there right now. A high today of 92, 94 tomorrow. For Friday, the holiday, 99 and sunshine. Right now, it's 77 downtown. Inside Sources coming up next.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
9 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Andy Farnsworth. KSL's top story this hour. 2 suspects were arrested in connection to an aggravated robbery and kidnapping in Mill Creek. Unified Police say it happened earlier this week when the victim was lured into a home under false pretenses and then kept from leaving. They were then reportedly threatened with weapons and robbed. The victim escaped and went to police. Wyatt Hansen and James Waterman were booked into the Salt Lake County Metro Jail. A man attempting to rob a Salt Lake City subway last night may have bitten off more than he could chew. Salt Lake City police are still on the lookout for a man they say came into the Subway store just before 10 p.m.
Entered the store, threatened the clerk with a knife, demanded money, and he got bear sprayed.
Lieutenant Joe Sear says it was likely an employee who had the spray. He says they sent 17 units with a canine there, and they even had a drone. He feels pretty confident the suspect will be located since pictures from the incident are very clear. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. U.S. and Iranian forces exchanged attacks for an 11th consecutive day overnight. ABC News Global Affairs anchor Martha Raddatz is in Amman, Jordan, with more on the conflict.
The Pentagon identifying the 4th soldier who died in the last week. She is 28-year-old Sergeant Angel Rampersad of Ozone Park, New York. The youngest killed was 19-year-old Isabella Gonzalez from Texas. Her high school friends shocked.
And I didn't even get to see her. I didn't even get to say bye.
And the wife of 30-year-old Sergeant Michael Swinton of North Carolina telling ABC News he was an amazing husband and father to his 2 young children.
The wife of 30-year-old Sergeant Michael Swinton tells ABC News he was an amazing husband and father to his 2 young children. Your money at this moment, the Dow up 55 points to 52,279. The NASDAQ down 83 points to 25,753. Coming up, looks like more potential rain in the forecast for today and some cooler temperatures compared to what we've had. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time, 9:02.
A reminder about the simplest way to get updated for your day.
Hit your KSL preset when you jump in the car, and we'll take care of the rest.
Hear key news updates and traffic reports.
Andy and Amanda from 5 to 9 in your car.
KSL News Radio at 102.7 FM.
Well, it's official. My friends have all switched to Pure Talk because I told them they could save a bunch of money on a super reliable high-speed network with unlimited data. And because they're my friends, they trust me. As for the rest of you, well, Pure Talk understands that even though you might like me, you're not just going to take my word for it, nor should you. For that reason, and for a very limited time, Pure Talk is offering any of their plans for just $15 a month for the first 3 months, including their top-tier unlimited plan that normally sells for $65 a month. Think of it like a test drive, a super simple way to save $150 while you kick the tires on Pure Talk's blazing fast network, and a fine way to see for yourself why I switched from big wireless, along with a few 100,000 of my closest friends. Dial pound 250, say Mike Rowe, and be connected to Pure Talk's friendly U.S. customer service team. Again, dial pound 250, say Mike Rowe, and let the savings begin.
Most families get their financial advice in pieces. A financial advisor here, a CPA there, an estate attorney somewhere else. Everyone means well, but nobody's talking to each other, and those gaps can work against you. Trajan Wealth's family office brings wealth management, tax strategy, and estate planning together, not as separate conversations, but as one coordinated system built around your life, your goals, and the people who matter most. Ours is a true family office, not one that refers you out because it's convenient. This kind of dedicated collaboration used to require a 7-figure net worth, but here's the game changer. Trajan kicked that door open. Trajan advisors are fiduciaries, always obligated, always honored to act in your best interest. Unlock your Trajan family office at TrajanWealth.com or call 1-855-TRAJAN-1. That's 1-855-TRAJAN-1.
Advisory services through Trajan Wealth, LLC, an SEC registered investment advisor. Other services through Trajan Estate and Trajan Tax.
Did you know Utah State University is home to one of the nation's leading centers for disability research and advocacy? At the Institute for Disability Research Policy and Practice, we work side by side with Utahns with disabilities, their families, and community partners to make our state more accessible and inclusive for everyone. Our researchers, educators, and advocates partner with family service providers and policymakers to create real lasting change. We believe that everyone deserves a chance to live, learn, work, and play in our communities. From helping children reach their potential in early intervention programs, to building accessible technologies, to improving mental health and employment supports, our work touches every corner of the state. The Institute for Disability Research, Policy, and Practice is the only disability-focused research center in the state of Utah. That means we're Utah's home for innovation, data-driven policy, and community solutions that make life better for people with disabilities. Find us at idrpp.usu.edu.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by UCCU. You deserve to love where you bank. Let's go to Cormac Bone.
I-15 delays have cleared out in Salt Lake County. It's still slow a little bit northbound I-15 in Utah County approaching Pleasant Grove Boulevard. Eastbound I-80, that right lane very full as you come into Kimball Junction and reaching all the way over to the US 40 turnoff. Those are extra residual delays due to a crash that has cleared off the road. And eastbound on the 201 freeway, there is a crash there as well. Out of traffic in the right shoulder just after 8400 west. Thirsty for better water? Culligan has you covered. From softeners and filtration to bottle-free coolers and bottled water delivery, trusted local experts make water taste amazing. Visit CulliganSLC.com. Cormac Bone in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL weather today, partly sunny, but those rain showers are persistent. There's a chance we'll see more this afternoon. Flash flood potentials are high, especially around recent burn scars. It'll heat up this weekend, highs reaching triple digits on Saturday. Right now, it is 77 degrees in Salt Lake City. I'm Andy Farnsworth from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at KSLNewsRadio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
Well, Pioneer Day is a couple days away, but today is the official first day to be able to light off fireworks for the Pioneer Day season.
Yeah, kind of, but not really.
Right.
It depends on where you live. Many cities across the state have chosen to outright ban personal fireworks. Professional fireworks shows can still go.
Yeah, and we did talk about that yesterday with Kate Bradshaw, Bountiful Mayor and president of the Utah League of Cities and Towns, who indicated that they were meeting. They were going to have an opinion between some of the cities by about 2 o'clock yesterday afternoon. We'll talk about what that came down to. But it was, according to the governor, as sort of a city by city, he called it a hybrid plan this year, which was not what they did to the 4th, which was more of an outright ban.
So one of the biggest changes that I saw was that the Bonneville Salt Flats did allow fireworks on the 4th, but do not allow fireworks for the 24th. So just be aware, if you're thinking of going out to the Bonneville Salt Flats, don't do it. It's not legal on the 24th.
Yeah, I mean, that seemed like actually an interesting idea, but there's probably a fair amount of trash that people leave, and so maybe once a year is plenty. With restrictions in place for another holiday, we want to know how you are planning to celebrate. And text us at 57500 or just call us at 801-575-TALK. That's 801-575-8255. Let us know what you're planning to do in terms of fireworks this season. in the next couple days.
So we finally had rain down in Pleasant Grove, but our city is continuing the ban. So there's no personal fireworks in our town of Pleasant Grove. What about you up in Ogden Valley?
Yeah, the Ogden Valley has been out. I mean, it's so dry up there, and it's just frightening. It's just a tinderbox up there waiting for something to go off. We did have one fire in the valley about a month ago, but no, there's not. And even in Ogden City, what I've noticed is that east of Harrison Boulevard, in other words, on the mountains, the east side mountain, they've closed that off for fireworks as well.
Yeah, Salt Lake City is you can't light fireworks in Salt Lake City. That they continued that. Let's see.
What did Bradshaw's group decide yesterday?
A ban. They're not allowing them either. So in Beaver County, they're banning. Why is that even a question down there?
Of course, right?
I mean, they just had this gigantic fire. Yes, they had flooding, but they had this huge fire.
Yeah.
Right, 97,000 acres down there.
You'd almost expect them to have a 5-year ban.
I know.
Because that soil in that area down there is going to be hard to get back up.
Up in Cache County, this is just a snippet of where some bans are, but Logan City is maintaining the personal fireworks ban. Nibley has gone back to its previous fireworks restriction map. So there are some places where you can do personal fireworks. Providence extended the personal fireworks ban through Pioneer Day.
So I would think that if you are thinking about doing fireworks, you need to go online. You need to find out what your city's plans are so that you're not running afoul of the law. I actually, as you know, I do criminal defense work, and I got several clients after the 4th of July who got cited.
You really?
Who got cited for illegal fireworks. Two of them, and they were unrelated to each other, but somebody called me and said, "Hey, I got a ticket for fireworks. It's a crime. Don't do it. I mean, it's not worth it."
Yeah. So. I think that's interesting. There are some places where you can do fireworks, but it makes me wonder then if people are going to go purchase personal fireworks and then drive to a place where it's allowed right now. And if so, does that mean that they're going to maybe place an additional burden on the people who have to patrol or watch for fires in those areas?
Good question.
I don't know.
If you're a city that allows fireworks, do you expect that some people will be imported into your town?
Right.
I mean, I guess if you have some relatives in one city that's good to go, you would go do your fireworks there. I hope it doesn't create an additional burden for those cities that were, I don't know, generous or kind or reckless enough to say, let's go ahead and have fireworks this year. I mean, I think people made some good thoughts. And you know what, when we talked about with the mayor of Bountiful yesterday, she was indicating that, as with most cities, they were consulting with their fire department, their law enforcement. It wasn't just a decision from the top.
Yeah. So down where I live in Utah County, not everyone, but most places are extending the ban. Washington County, even still, I mean, down in southern Utah, there are some places where you can do things. Bicknell, there's a ban.
Probably.
Ban on fireworks. Yeah. Yep. North Ogden, returning to the normal fireworks restrictions. So in North Ogden, there is the ability to light generally south of Canal Trail. So if you know that area, you do have some ability there. South Ogden, fireworks remain prohibited.
What about Salt Lake City's doing? Are they having a ban?
So Salt Lake City proper, they've extended the ban on personal fireworks. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because with the Days of 47, that's a big downtown event.
Oh yeah.
You would expect. Well, there probably aren't going to be fireworks around, but it depends. Other parts of the valley may still. I know sometimes Murray Park will have some. Sometimes West Jordan will. They used to do them at the ball field, but that, of course, is Salt Lake City. So, yeah, just check with your local city.
So KSL put up a Facebook post just when Governor Cox said, "Look, the cities are going to be able to do that." And we have some comments. Just do it at the Salt Flats. Can't do it
at the Salt Flats.
Yep. And there's a couple that are saying, these adult children need to stop throwing their temper tantrums about the need and the right to have personal fireworks. It's like, okay, that's fair. So Debbie says, I hope Tooele bans fireworks. The state's on fire. And what is different from the 4th to now? Yeah, we have a little bit of rain, right? I think that's what's different.
There's no constitutional right to says
I know.
fireworks.
I know.
It's not under the Second Amendment, firearms.
So
So people get upset. Hey, it's all right, but it's not. It's a fun thing. It's a pleasure. It's a gift. It's that's something the city can take and they can take away.
So Facebook, I just mentioned somebody said they hoped that Tooele would ban it. They have. Tooele has banned it. I've got a texter asking about Sandy, South Jordan, and West Jordan. I'm going to see if I can find that information. But we also have a texter that says they're going to go to University Mall in Utah County and watch their fireworks display. So professional fireworks still ongoing.
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
and that's coming up soon. Today's the day that it does start. If your city does allow it, you can start lighting off fireworks today. And I think it continues through the 24th itself, which is...
And I think one
it
day
may even
past.
go one day past
Yeah.
because Saturday is the 25th. Yep.
So coming up on Inside Sources, we're going to continue to talk about the activities, including road closures and weather for Pioneer Day. And if you haven't chimed in yet, what are you planning to do to celebrate the holiday without fireworks? Text us 57500. We're going to be right back.
Did you get hit with a huge tax penalty this year because of your health insurance last year? Have you spoken with your accountant to find out what your monthly premium really cost you after the government took back that subsidy? I'm Mike at My Policy Quote, and I help families so they don't need to find out the hard way if your income changed, you picked up extra work, sold property, or just had a good year. That tax credit could have cost you thousands. My name is Mike, and at My Policy Quote, my freedom of choice plan saves clients 30 to 60%. Keep your doctors, lower your out-of-pockets, and use a national PPO network. If you pay your own health insurance on COBRA, uninsured, or an employer plan is just too much, even self-employed or small businesses, call me, Mike, today. 385-367-6779. Again, that's 385-367-6779. Or visit mypolicyquote.com. That's mypolicyquote.com. All my clients tell me they wish they switched sooner and they could have saved all those thousands of dollars over the years. Don't delay. Call today.
This is Colin Keary from the New Millennium Group. Have you ever had a question for your financial advisor only to find out that the next available appointment is months away? At New Millennium Group, we believe that financial advice should never be limited to once-a-year review meetings. Life happens every single day. Markets change, retirement questions come up, family situations evolve, and when they do, you deserve answers. That's why we pride ourselves at the New Millennium Group on being accessible when our clients need us most. Whether you're wondering about your investments or a major life decision, our team is here to help provide guidance. We're not interested in being the firm you hear from once a year. We want to be your trusted resource throughout your entire retirement journey. If you're looking for a financial team that values relationships, communication, and responsiveness, we'd love to meet you. Give us a call today at 888-999-6370. That's 888-999-6370, or visit us at utahsfinancialplanner.com.
Let me ask you a question. You have a best friend? How big would it shock you if somebody told you that your best friend just killed somebody?
911, what's your emergency? Someone on the other line said they kidnapped my son and they're demanding $500,000.
I've asked myself so many times, what in the world happened?
Ransom is available now. Listen at ransompodcast.com or wherever you get your podcasts.
This is Andy Farnsworth with One Kind Act a Day's Minute of Kindness, brought to you by the Semnani Family Foundation. Sometimes we don't know how much showing up for the birthday of someone we love truly means. For one best friend, it meant the world. She wasn't able to do much for her birthday this year because of school and work, but when her friend showed up with a gift, a smile, and a hug, it meant the world. Someone may not expect you to remember their birthday or wish them a happy birthday, but when you do show up or send them a text, it will mean the world to them. Remember to wish someone a happy birthday. Find out more at thepowerofkind.org. That's thepowerofkind.org.
You know, I used to think all money managers were the same until I spoke with Fisher Investments.
Really? How different are they?
Fisher's investment counselors are dedicated to service, not sales, keeping clients up to date on their portfolio.
Well, they probably just invest in a bunch of mutual funds like I do.
Nope. They build a tailored portfolio based on their clients' personal goals, helping them stay on track for a comfortable retirement.
Well, they must make commissions selling products.
Actually, Fisher doesn't sell any commission-based products. They're a fiduciary, and they believe that's a conflict.
Then they have some kind of complex fee structure.
Nope. Fisher has a simple, transparent fee that's a percentage of their client's portfolio. So they do better when their clients do better.
It sounds like Fisher really is different.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Fisher Investments. Clearly different wealth management. Learn more at fisherinvestments.com/different. Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel angry or depressed most of the time? Do you feel neglected or unloved?
Do you feel you attract people who tend to be compulsive or abusive?
Do you have money problems because of someone else's drinking?
Are you afraid or embarrassed to bring your friends home?
Do you feel that if the drinker loved you, she or he would stop drinking?
If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
More than half of all adults have a family history of alcoholism.
Not everyone trapped by alcohol is an alcoholic.
Families and friends are suffering too. Al-Anon and Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
An expanded Inside Sources. Inside Sources.
So Pioneer children sang as they walked and walked and walked. And I remember singing that song, and it feels like you just walk forever, even in the song.
Yeah.
So instead of shooting off fireworks, there's a whole lot going on this weekend that you can take part in. So there's lots of opportunities to get your steps in.
Yes, and now you'll have me thinking of that song.
I know.
Won't get it out of my head all day, but that's okay. Of course, there's the famous Days of 47 parade in Salt Lake City. We're actually going to be there along the parade route, so you should definitely pop on down and say hello to us.
I know. But what are you planning to do? We still want to know. Join the conversation. Text us your Pioneer Day plans at 57500 or call us 801-575-8255. That's 801-575-TALK.
I'm actually excited about this Days of 47 parade. I've never done this. We're doing two things, you and I.
Yeah.
On the parade day, which is Friday. Of course, we have to meet at 7:30 in the morning,
which is late for us.
We'll have a place on the parade route where we'll be set up to do commentary on the parade. And they're actually having us meet early so they can tell us what to do and say.
And we won't be the only ones, right?
Right. I think there are a couple of booths set up, but that's so fun. I'm so looking forward to that. And so, if you're at the parade, come say hi, come say hello to us. And then Saturday, we'll be on the float at the Bountiful Handcart Days Parade.
Which will also be fun.
Which will be a lot of fun. So look for us there, and we'll throw some candy in your direction.
I don't even know if we were going to do that.
Maybe,
so
if we can.
He's making promises he can't keep. So, look, there are other things that are going on, too. And I don't know, do you have a traditional thing that you do on Pioneer Day in Utah?
I don't really, although my wife and I have decided no matter what, we're doing a barbecue.
Yeah.
We're doing a barbecue.
That sounds great.
So, yep.
So we usually do some form of barbecue. Every once in a while, we've done some more authentic Pioneer food. We used to do it. We haven't done it for a while, but corn cakes, but they were cooked over garden utensils, a garden hoe, actually. And you could heat it up and cook it right on there. Sounds really not very clean, but if you're desperate, you're desperate. We cook it in a Dutch oven, and it's basically just cornmeal, salt, and water, and that's it. And it's actually better than you think it is.
And it makes a cake?
Yeah. It makes it kind of crunchy around the edges, depending on how thick you make it, because you turn it into a paste, and then you kind of cook it. It's really good with ketchup.
Yeah. Well, with the butter itself, it makes them sound pretty good, actually.
So we have a couple of textures. This texture, Mark, says, my late mother-in-law was president of the Daughters of the Utah Pioneers and was in every parade for many years. And Lori, our texter, says to us that they're going kayaking and paddleboarding on a lake. Also really great because the weather is supposed to be hot again on Pioneer Day, like 99.
Oh, I thought it was cooling off a little bit. Maybe today's just the day of that. I had a friend when I worked at the DA's office, and he always did these Dutch oven things.
Yeah.
And he always did them for events like this. Of course, he would teach it to the scouts and teach people how to do that. But I always thought, man, I'd like to hook up with him because it sounded so good what you just cook in the Dutch oven for the day. And
So we're going camping next week, and we do Dutch oven cooking while we're camping. My husband does most of the cooking, but not all of it. But we'll do things like ribs, barbecue ribs in a Dutch oven. We'll do mashed potatoes. Of course, we've got to do the ubiquitous peach cobbler, and I do peaches that I've bottled myself at home. They taste really good. So he does homemade rolls in Dutch ovens. I'm like, I can do stew. I don't burn anything.
Yeah.
If there's stew, but he knows all the calculations for you need this many briquettes on the bottom and this many on top, and that'll make it like an oven that's 350 degrees. I'm like, wow, I'm impressed.
Well, it's a big holiday for the state of Utah. It is not a big holiday federally or from other places. In fact, I remember every year it seems that we, if you have a case in federal court, sometimes you have court on the 24th of July.
Well, that stinks.
I know, but
they should honor state holidays.
Yeah, you would think so, but they don't always. At least they hadn't in the past. I've had court on the 24th of July several times, but the state courts are obviously closed. And it's one of those 3-day weekends that I just look forward to. The 4th and the 24th, we always get away. This year, we're not going to get away because
you're doing parades.
We're doing parades, but I think Saturday night we're going to take our Sprinter up to one of the reservoirs up in the hills, and, up in the Uintas, and go fishing for a day or two.
We have a couple more texters. One who says that his plans are to eat pie and drink beer. And so that has been, I think it's kind of funny, don't be offended, that Pioneer Day can be Pie and Beer Day if you don't have Pioneer heritage, or even if you do. So,
I would just say that the combination of pie and beer doesn't sound appealing at all. Those are two things that shouldn't go together.
So we have another texter that says that they live in Alpine and that they always go to the Pioneer graveyard and just read the various gravestones and that say a little bit about the lives of the people who were buried there. It is super interesting.
Really interesting.
I have this really funny story. So I do have some Pioneer heritage on my dad's side. People who came across the plains. I had a great grandmother who gave birth on the plains of Nebraska. But on my mom's side, no Pioneer heritage. On my husband's side, no Pioneer heritage, right? And so you don't have to have any kind of genetic ties to people who entered the valley in 1847. I think there's lots of ways to be pioneers and to even celebrate that. But one of the things that I think is kind of fun sometimes is just to talk about, like, what would it have been like? Because I'm telling you, I could give birth on the trail. I don't want to walk in July into a desert and say, oh gosh, I left the green Northeast Midwest for this.
Do you remember when they recreated that walk a couple years ago?
I do.
And it was an exciting thing. I mean, a lot of people, young people did it. The whole walked.
I think it was for the 150th. It must have been, because I think it must have been like 97 maybe. I might be wrong on that, but I think it was. And they did have a baby born on the trail, actually. They did. And I knew the midwife who was the person who attended that birth. So kind of fun. There's some other things, of course, happening as well, right? And you can go to, this is the place, State Park. My son's working there right now. I talked to him yesterday. He works in the blacksmith shop. He works in, I think he told me like the tanner's shop for tanning
he actually
hides.
is a blacksmith. I mean, he has
been,
skills in that. And people, he said people just watch him.
Yeah, that's
work
right.
His trade.
He was, he started volunteering at the, this is the place, State Park, and we're going to talk with the president or the executive director tomorrow. And anyway, he started volunteering when he was a teenager, and he had braces, and he had to come up with this whole backstory on why he had braces, and it had something to do with getting in a fight, and all his teeth were knocked out, and this is what the dentist did to have him stay in his mouth. I don't know. I can't remember, but it was kind of funny, right?
That's a fun place.
Almost 40.
They've done a great job with that.
Yeah,
part.
he started working there when he was 15, or volunteering. Okay, here's some other events. Sandy City Movies in the Park. They're showing The Sandlot, which is really, really fun. That movie will start at 9 p.m.
Sandy does that once in a while.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds so
on
fun.
July
And that's a
22nd,
great
which
movie
is today.
too. Yeah.
It's today, so that's
a great
tonight.
movie.
Logan, they're doing Pioneer celebrations all day in Willow Park. Fiddlers and Fireworks Train, the Heber Valley Railroad, so that's really fun. They have live music and a fried chicken dinner on the night of the 24th. The Salt Lake Art Museum grand opening is also on July 24th, and they say this: Utah's first museum dedicated exclusively to Utah artists. So there you go.
Yeah, and a lot of cities do a big event either on the 4th or the 24th, but it's exciting because it seems like we have just as many big events on the 24th as we do on the 4th.
Yeah. So the mall where one of our listeners is going to watch fireworks, they also have a thing all day. They have a dance party for kids, a live music performance. Brigham City has a Pioneer Day celebration from 9 to 1 p.m. in the Dennis B. Vincent Memorial Park up in Brigham City. There are fireworks at Utah Lake if you live down there. Utah County is putting on a big thing over the lake. It's supposed to be Pioneer Day, America 250, and the Spirit of Utah County on the 24th.
Yeah, if you've ever gone to a fireworks show over a lake or reservoir, it just is beautiful.
It is.
We did one up
really
in Pineview a couple years ago.
Yeah.
It was just spectacular.
So I want our listeners to make sure that you join us for an entire hour celebrating Pioneer Day tomorrow. We're going to look at the history. We're going to talk about celebrations. And we're going to take part in a classic Utah tradition, a Jell-O competition. Yay! That'll be in our 10 o'clock hour on tomorrow's Inside Sources.
And coming up after the break, we're going to shift gears to something a little more serious, a little more solemn. The bodies of 4 U.S. service members killed in the Middle East are coming home today, including one soldier with strong Utah ties. We're going to talk about that and what's being held for them when we come back.
9:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Andy Farnsworth. KSL's top story this hour: a local Beaver resident says after fires and flooding damaged the road in Beaver Canyon, he and his neighbors are left in limbo, unsure when they can get back into their homes and rebuild. KSL News Radio's McKenna Rodriguez reports.
Steve Mayer's cabin caught fire in June, but didn't completely burn down, unlike some of his neighbors who lost their homes entirely. Mayer says that him and many others were hoping to get back on their feet and rebuilding by this fall. But the indefinite road closure of SR 153 has thrown a wrench in their plans to rebuild. No one is able to get up the canyon and even assess the damage that was done. And power companies say it could be about 18 months before they even get their power back.
Mayor says despite the tragic circumstances, it's been wonderful to see the community come together and offer support and a place to stay for those who need it. Beaver County School District employees are persevering through the flooding. They're still serving lunch for those students enrolled in the district's summer nutrition program. The city's water system was damaged in the flood, so they've been using bottled water to make the meals. The lunch ladies converted bottle-to-gallon measurements and stood outside an elementary school to hand out the meals, all to make sure the kids wouldn't go hungry. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. New Jersey says it has corrected a voter registration error that automatically registered thousands of non-citizens to vote. More from ABC News Chief White House correspondent Mary Bruce.
She says officials became aware of this issue last week and that all 6,600 people are now being scrubbed from their voter rolls. And she is vowing that this will not happen again, saying when they find problems, they will fix them. All of this is coming as President Trump is amping up his unproven claims of widespread election fraud. The president quick to react to this news out of New Jersey, saying the episode underscores the need to pass his Save America Act, which of course is his bill requiring voter ID and proof of citizenship.
Your money at this moment, the Dow up a little bit more now in the last half hour to 136 points to 52,361. The NASDAQ now down 5 points to 25,831. Coming up, enjoy these cooler 90-degree temperatures while they last, because we're getting back into the triple digits over the weekend. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time, 9:32.
The sources where we get our news matters.
When you listen to Utah's Morning News, we want you to feel the stories are important to you and trustworthy. This is Amanda Dixon.
And I'm Andy Farnsworth. Join us weekday mornings on KSL News Radio.
Hey, you know, summer's far from over. It's not even the 24th of July, but we're coming up on that weekend. But what if I told you that 4 weeks from now, that is middle of August, everything could feel different for you. Your energy, your weight, the way your clothes fit. That is what the SOTA Dynamic Diet is built to do. Right now, listeners of this program can get 4 free weeks if they call 866-800-SOTA and mention KSL News Radio. One of the reasons I hooked up with SOTA is this. They believe weight loss should be temporary. It's not a lifetime thing. Results our lifetime, but the weight loss itself was temporary. And for me, it was only several weeks, and I got down to the weight I wanted to be on. I don't have to continue with shots or pills or anything like that. It's based solely on diet. I had a nutritionist contact me, and she and I sat down with a plan to follow a food plan that worked out really well. I didn't have to buy the food through Soda. I bought it at the grocery store by my house, and it's worked out really well for me. I ended up losing 30 pounds, believe it or not, 30 pounds, and I couldn't lose it on my own. Get 4 weeks free if you call 866-800-SODA. I mentioned KSL News Radio. They got thousands of success stories, nearly 9,000 Google reviews, real results that you can see. Remember, Soda is, say it with me, state of the art.
I'm Utah tax attorney Jordan Wilcox. Don't face the IRS alone.
I was self-employed, and I got behind on my taxes. And then 1 year became 2 years and 3 years, and $116,535.47 to be exact. It just became overwhelming. Finally, I went to another tax company, and they were more interested in how good they were than helping me. I heard about Jordan and talking to the other people who'd done and been in the same situations that I was in, and their tax problems seemed just like mine. And so I went to Jordan, and it was amazing. They were able to negotiate it down to $5,200, and life became wonderful to me.
Don't face the IRS alone. You need a tax attorney that's not afraid to fight for you. Visit endtaxworry.com to schedule your free consultation. That's endtaxworry.com.
I will be forever grateful.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Summer's finally here, and we're kicking it off with a whole lot of free. Free brake pads with Duralast rotors. Free oil filter with 5 quarts of oil. Free Armor All wipes with Armor All glass cleaner, and more. More free, so you can have more summer. Celebrate free at AutoZone. Now through July 27th. Restrictions apply.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Tired of hearing scary radio ads about the IRS? Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000 or $500,000, we have a solution. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS with zero risk to you. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with a BBB. End your tax nightmare today by visiting TRA.com or call 800-583-6681. That's 800-583-6681.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by UCCU. Learn how to save more this summer at UCCU.com. Here's Cormac Bone.
Do have a couple of crashes on the west side. The first is eastbound I-80 at the I-215 interchange as you try to go onto southbound on the west belt. They are just right there in the right shoulder before you transition, so not causing any delay since they're out of traffic. The other's on the 201 freeway eastbound at 8000 west. They're also at that off-ramp and in the right shoulder, so it's a little slow as you get off of the 201 there. Otherwise, delays, though. Southbound I-15 just after 7200 south, approaching 90th south, a little bit of delay there. And, of course, in Lehigh, it's eastbound 2100 north. That's very dense between 3600 west and I-15. I'm Cormac Bone in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL weather today is going to be partly sunny, but those rain showers are going to stick around. There's a chance we'll see more hitting the ground this afternoon. Flash flood potentials are high, especially around the recent burn scars. It will heat up this weekend, highs getting into the triple digits starting on Saturday. Right now it is 79 degrees in Salt Lake City. I'm Andy Farnsworth from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
Well, we're expecting a very solemn scene in Delaware this morning as the bodies of 4 service members killed in the Middle East come home. Our president is expected to attend what's called a dignified transfer.
And among those killed is First Lieutenant Tyler Feehan. He's a man with strong ties to Cedar City. He was a graduate of Cedar High School and Southern Utah University with a bachelor's degree. He was part of the ROTC program there, the ROTC, and he was just a few weeks away from completing his MBA there.
Yeah, and these dignified transfers are just that. It's a very solemn, dignified event when you bring a service member's body home. It's a really hard thing to watch, and you have to imagine what it must be like to be a part of that if you're a family member.
It is, and it is very touching, I think, and we're waiting. I mean, it was kind of scheduled. I don't know how much you can schedule these things, but to begin about 9:15 our time, so about 20 minutes ago or so. But until like you already mentioned, the president is expected to be there. And as we're waiting for that to take place, I thought we could talk a little bit more about some of the people who lost their lives, and maybe we can start with the one with the Utah connections, which is Tyler Feehan.
We're learning a lot more about Tyler Feehan. We found out yesterday that he had graduated from Cedar High School. He attended Southern Utah University, which is also in the Cedar City area. He had completed a degree, and then he was just a few weeks away from completing his MBA. The school is going to award him the MBA.
Sure.
Good for them. And they're going to have an event for that so that he will still be awarded that MBA because it sounds like he'd earned it. He had some big plans. I think someone told me that he was considering going on to law school.
Yeah, I told you that. And he was engaged to be married after this deployment ended. So those plans, of course, have been upended. And it's just tragic, of course. So Southern Utah University President Mindy Benson spoke with KSL News Radio's Heather Peterson, and this was her first reaction to the news.
I was heartbroken immediately. It stopped me in my tracks as I thought about the sacrifice that he and his family, that Tyler and his family had made. And I think our whole campus is feeling that. We all grieve alongside his family, his loved ones, his classmates, the cadets that were in the program with him. I think we're all grieving and heartbroken for the loss of Tyler.
And that was something that came completely out of the blue, I suppose, for his family, his friends, and the people in the Iron County area. And I mean, you go away to serve in something like this, and you just don't know what's going to happen. I think he was serving at a base in Jordan.
He was, and there were three people who were killed in Jordan. And then one person who died in Iraq as he tried to disarm a downed drone.
Yeah, President Benson went on to talk about the loss of a student like this.
We take the lives of every single T-bird seriously, and we are sad when we lose any T-bird. But particularly in this situation, it hits home hard and differently, and we're deeply grateful for his service and his sacrifice and his family's sacrifice.
She did indicate how SUU is planning to honor him.
We have a yellow ribbon on the bell tower, which the bell tower signifies their moment at SUU as they graduate. And that has a yellow ribbon, and it will be lit in yellow tonight. And it also plays the Army hymn every hour in honor of his service and the branch that he was in. But he's representing all the armed forces now. And we have the yellow ribbon signifying, I know that he's given his life, and his family has also earned the gold star the hardest possible way that they can. And we want to make sure that we honor that. So there will be lights on campus that are yellow tonight, and then in the coming days, we will present Tyler with his Master's of Business Administration posthumously at commencement next year. He has earned that and was 3 weeks away from finishing his courses. He was in his capstone course and working with a cohort. We'll make sure that he is honored appropriately then. And then the Osmond Pioneer Legacy production is Thursday night on our campus as part of the 24th of July Pioneer Day celebration. And we will have a moment of silence and honor him there as well.
So she also spoke about who Tyler Feehan was.
He was a very active, engaged part of our campus, a strong leader in the ROTC program. He brought such a warmth and light and leadership onto our campus. He was a quiet student, but as soon as he got comfortable and you got to know him, he was the life of the party and engaged in everything. And such a neat, special person who was following in the legacy of his retired father's footsteps in Army service, and he was very proud of that.
Wade Ant's so much ahead of him. He was just getting his MBA, thinking about going to law school. I think he was engaged or had a
he was
girlfriend.
engaged,
Yeah.
has a fiance.
Right.
I wanted to identify the other ones as well. So Isabella Gonzalez was also killed in Jordan, and so was Angel Rampersad. And she was just identified relatively recently. She was the last person identified. And then the soldier that was killed in Iraq was Michael Emmanuel Swinton. And 2 of these soldiers were stationed in Germany and 2 were stationed in Fort Bragg in North Carolina. And they, so they knew people on those bases as well.
One of the female that you indicated, the first one was 19 years old.
Yeah, Isabella.
Just a child.
Yeah,
and then this man, the last one that you just indicated, I think was a father of 2 kids.
Michael Swinton, father of 2 kids. That's right. And again, it's not something that you expect, I don't think. I mean, it's always a risk, but it's not something you expect when you're trained to, for example, disarm drones, that you don't expect, I don't think, that it's going to blow up and kill you. But unfortunately, that appears to be what happened in Michael's case.
Yeah, and that's got to be a very difficult job anyway, no matter what, because they are armed. But you would think when they crash, there's some that would be disabled, and I'm sure they took every step they could to make sure that it was safe. But sometimes, just like when we find those bombs and they use for avalanches with ski patrol, you just have to treat them like they're still hot.
So the president has vowed to retaliate for every U.S. death. He said on Monday that every time Iran kills an American soldier, they will pay for that many times over.
Yeah.
So coming up next on Inside Sources, I do want to stick with the war in Iran and talk about requests for billions more in funding and wonder whether Congress will approve Secretary Hegseth's requests. Stay with us.
Do you know why more homeowners choose Any Hour Services for help when it's time to replace their air conditioners? What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and the main reasons people choose Any Hour Services is because of our people, processes, and convenience. People tell us all the time that there's just something different about having an Any Hour Services technician in their home. That's why our over 23,000 Google reviews mention our technicians by name. Another reason is our 7-step install process that we call the Any Hour Difference. It all starts with the needs analysis, where you explain what you like and dislike about your current system. This helps us design and size a system that fits your comfort and efficiency preferences as well as your home's airflow requirements. As for convenience, most of our installs are completed in one day. We also have flexible, no money down financing options available, even if you've been told no in the past. So if you've been thinking about getting a new air conditioner, call Any Hour Services and schedule a free estimate today. Google Any Hour Services or schedule online at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
KSL offers the best daily newsletter in the state. It's the 3 things you need to know. Every weekday, we deliver quality and relevant content to your inbox. No ads, no spam, just the 3 things you need to know to be informed about the world around you. Subscribe today. Visit KSLNewsRadio.com or text the word inbox to 57500. That's inbox to 57500.
This is Dylan Gunther of the Utah Mammoth, and I drive a BMW. Performance matters to me, on the ice and on the road. That confidence lets me focus on what matters most, performance. That's why I trust BMW Utah for everything, from service to tires. They've always got my back. Between scoring goals and scoring the perfect ride, it's a tough call, but scoring is what I do. And the win? Driving a BMW from BMW Utah. When I came to Utah, everyone talked about the greatest snow on earth. But during the 2002 Olympics, the world saw something else. This place also has the best ice on earth. Since moving here, I've done my best to own that ice and live up to that standard. It's about preparation, precision, and trusting what's beneath you every single day. That same mindset is why I chose BMW Utah, because great performance doesn't happen by accident. It's built, maintained, and earned. And I'm proud to work with a local dealer that represents Utah at that same elite level. Proud to be a Utahn, proud to support BMW Utah. Drive elevated.
911, tell me exactly what happened.
My son and his wife and their 2 children haven't responded.
Susan Powell disappeared on a snowy morning in 2009.
Your wife is missing, Josh.
Yeah, but
and you want to think about it for a couple of days?
The podcast, Cold, has gone deep on these kinds of stories.
I'd had this overwhelming feeling that he had done something to her already.
Clearly, something happened on that couch because he cleaned it.
Find and follow Cold wherever you get your podcasts.
This is Nate Orchard from Advanced Window Products.
When you live in Utah, your windows do a lot more than let the light in. They protect your home from freezing winters, blazing summers, and everything in between. That's why Advanced Window Products builds every window for your local climate. No middleman, no out-of-state delays, just factory direct quality, custom made for your home. Imagine a quieter home, a warmer home, a cooler home. Our high-efficiency vinyl windows are engineered to lower your energy bills and boost your comfort all year round. And installation is done by our own certified in-house crews, never subcontractors. That's why Utah homeowners give us 5-star reviews. Right now, take advantage of our anniversary sale. For a limited time, get $2,500 off when you buy 10 or more windows. Call 801-850-9100. That's 801-850-9100. For 40 years, Advanced Window Products has been the name Utah trusts for custom replacement windows and sliding glass doors. Advanced Window Products, built here, installed here, trusted here. Call 801-850-9100 for that $2,500 off, or visit us at advancedwindows.com to schedule your free in-home estimate.
Everywhere you look, things are getting more expensive. But at Consumer Cellular, we're lowering the price for those 50 and up. Now you can get unlimited everything for just $35 a line. That's $35 a month for unlimited talk, text, and data. Switch to the carrier ranked #1 in network coverage and customer satisfaction and get unlimited everything for just $35 a month. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit Consumer Cellular online or in-store today. Price includes $5 credit for autopay and e-billing. Taxes and fees apply. Data speeds reduced after 35 gigabytes. Rankings done by 2025 ACSI survey.
If the world were like a Sleep Number mattress, everything would adapt for your comfort. Your coffee would never get cold. Your flight would always be on time. And your mattress would always respond to you and your unique sleep needs. Sleep Number mattresses are designed to respond to your body and shift with your changing life, helping you fall asleep faster and stay asleep longer. To experience a whole new world of comfort, visit a Sleep Number store or go to sleepnumber.com. Sleep Number. To a good night's sleep.
Inside Sources. War in Iran.
U.S. military forces launched an 11th straight night of strikes targeting Iran, and it comes as the Trump administration reveals the war's price tag, and while Secretary Hegseth is asking Congress for more funding.
Yeah, and we know that this war has gotten from bad to worse. There was a ceasefire that really wasn't. Now we're sort of in it with both feet. And we're continuing our coverage with ABC's Karen Travers, who has more from Washington, D.C. about the costs and what the administration is asking for.
Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth putting the cost of war at more than $37 billion and requesting another $67 billion.
Senator, I'm asking for the right bombs at the right time to ensure we can deter our adversaries into the future.
And now, signs of an escalation after the president yesterday issued a new threat to strike Pickaxe Mountain, a fortified site buried near one of Iran's main nuclear enrichment facilities. Iran's military warning, any strike on its nuclear sites makes every U.S. interest in the region a target.
As if it wasn't already. I mean, this is just getting completely out of hand, and it's so much tit for tat that they do one thing, we do something else. They respond to that.
Maybe more than something else, more than one thing. So this morning, the president said that the U.S. would destroy one bridge or power plant every time that Iran shoots at a ship in the Strait of Hormuz. Not even a U.S. ship, right? But if you fire anything at a ship, we're going to destroy a bridge or a power plant.
Yeah, and so it was interesting to hear Hegseth's remarks talking about, we need the right bombs to hit target, and but he is asking for an additional $87 billion in funding for the war. At an appropriations hearing in the opening statement, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth told the panel U.S. service members were facing challenges they haven't faced by prior generations.
If we don't make critical investments right now in tech, in compute, in AI, in autonomy, in space, our adversaries who are already making these types of investments could outpace us.
I will just say that his hearing on Capitol Hill yesterday was pretty heated. It was pretty heated. So one senator just said to his face, "You, sir, are the failure," because he feels like he was under pretty intense questioning, right? And he kept going back to trying to blame the Biden administration, and the senators were having none of it.
Yeah, I mean, we're well past that. And I even heard, Trump blaming Obama yesterday and saying that under that agreement, there would be no Israel today. And it's tough. I mean, we need to look forward instead of backwards, and it's no one's fault except whoever decided to get into this conflict now. and it didn't work out how they expected. They did think this was going to be a 3 or 4 week thing, and I think that the administration, notwithstanding their claims that they've won, needs to figure out a way out of it. And I think they will. I really do.
I still have a hot take.
Okay.
It's no one's fault. Yes, it is. Yes, it is someone's fault. We know whose fault it is. It's the president's fault.
Yeah.
Before he started this, they had already said, we've obliterated the nuclear capabilities. The strait was open. No service members had died. And here we are months later for something that we were, quote unquote, promised it would be 4 or 5 days. Look, I'm looking at a Politico.com article. It says it's a politically impossible situation. And even MAGA voters who think the war is worth the economic cost, it's fallen over a third. So they're like, even the strongest supporters are like, yeah, no, this is not good.
Well, it would make sense for me to have some input from Congress. And I know they're having these hearings right now, but it seems to me that we're well past the point of the administration declaring a war, and that we need to make sure that the rest of the country's on board, and that includes Congress. They need to step up to the plate. Maybe they're going to say, we support the war efforts, we're going to fund it. But at the bottom line, Hegseth's asking for billions and billions and billions of dollars to continue the funding and get the right bombs in the right places. But the people don't want that. The American public doesn't want that. And Congress doesn't seem to have much of an appetite for it. But they also don't seem to have much of an appetite to weigh in at all. And at some point, they sort of have to.
Yeah, I think that's part of the problem, right, is you have Senator John Curtis in Utah saying, look, we need to take action, but we also know that people are leaving town after this weekend. I'm not clear that they're going to be back next week, even though that is technically the end of July, but they're going to be gone pretty much all of August, come back for a week or two, and then be gone again for campaign season.
Yeah, and at the same time the administration is asking for more funding, Secretary of State Marco Rubio has indicated that it's important for other countries to step up and help us out. He spoke at a summit in the Philippines, and he said Iran refuses to keep its commitments, and that could spell more trouble for other countries, trying to get other people to maybe join the fray and help us out here.
The problem we're having right now is that they're not serious about talks. If they're serious, we're serious. If they're not, then we will do what is necessary to protect our interest and also the interest of our allies.
So one of the things that's interesting is even when this began in February, NATO allies were saying, this is not our war. This is your war. You decided to start this. This isn't ours, right? So I'm not that surprised that they're not jumping in with both feet. I think there's some other things, too, that are super at least worth talking about right here. So there is discussion, of course, of putting boots on the ground in Iran, and the Republican Party is saying, that would be a really bad idea, right? So that's one thing. It makes it difficult, especially going into midterms, if you're saying, hey, we're sending your kids into harm's way. I think another thing that's really interesting is that the president has approved a nuclear agreement that may allow Saudi Arabia to enrich uranium. And that's something where people are saying, really, is this a good idea?
Right, yeah.
This probably isn't that good of an idea. In fact, it's really not a good idea. But the deal is expected to be submitted to Congress for approval. It's probably going to face opposition there, but I wouldn't be surprised if the president tries to find a workaround.
Yeah, and so far the U.S. military involvement has been largely by air. And when you talk about boots on the ground, you're talking about
sending troops in.
The potential for many, many, many more casualties. Yeah. And we've had 18 so far, which is horrible.
Yeah.
Which is bad. But that's going to be a daily or weekly toll if we enter the ground.
Oh, for sure.
Jump in.
Look, people are already people on Capitol Hill. Senators are already starting to talk about, is this another forever war, right? In fact, people have been calling Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth the secretary. He wants to be the Secretary of War. They're calling him the Secretary of Eternal War or non-ending wars, right? Yeah. And there's another security concern that is in that same general region. This is another Politico article that the Trump administration ignored warnings from career staff of the Commerce Department, and it gave the UAE, which is the United Arab Emirates, access to advanced American semiconductors and other technology. And they're like, this is a huge security risk. Don't do it. And the White House ignored them and did it anyway.
Yeah, and Iran is bombing all these other countries because they are hosting American bases.
Yes.
And so as a tangent to that, they're bombing Jordan, other countries surrounding that, Bahrain, and hitting U.S. military bases. Of course, it also hits the infrastructure of those countries, and this is becoming a world conflict. This is becoming
it is. It's becoming a world war. It is. And one of the countries I know that Iran has hit, it's going after their desalination plants. That's their water supply, right? That's their water.
And that's something that is absolutely forbidden by the
international rules of war.
Yeah, you don't. That's civilian. The drinking water, like, come on, that's not something you go after.
Well,
but I mean, I'm just saying that.
Let's pivot to Ukraine.
Yeah.
No, I know you're not supposed to go after civilian infrastructure, but the president has already said we're going to go after bridges. Is that civilian infrastructure or is that military infrastructure?
Yeah, sure,
right?
It probably is, right.
But certainly we know that Putin has been doing that in a very different conflict, right?
Yeah, well, he follows no rules at all.
He follows no rules, but I don't know that we're all that great, right? So it's a question. Look, I was too young to remember the Vietnam War, except that my dad was deployed, and he was gone for a year overseas. He came back. Some of his friends didn't come back. But the idea now as a parent and a grandparent of sending my kids into what I think is an unjustified war, man, I have strong opinions about that one.
Yeah. Well, when we come back after the break, the man accused of stabbing a mall worker for being Muslim in West Valley has court this morning at 10 o'clock. We'll get to that later. And then we'll have some insights from a new KSL investigation on what to do if you fall victim to a scam, ways that you can get your hard-earned money back.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
10 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Andy Farnsworth. KSL's top story this hour, a man will serve 2 consecutive sentences after police say he stole a car with a baby inside. KSL News Radio's Alexandria Bonilla reports.
Last year, Carlos Daniel Castellanos decided to steal a car from the Gateway parking garage. That car, which the mom was standing next to, had an 8-month-old inside. He did stop before leaving that garage, letting the mom grab her baby, but he still took off with the car. Police were able to locate him soon after, thanks to his use of the mom's credit card, where he was arrested. Castellanos admitted to police he was on drugs, and it wasn't his first time stealing a car. He broke into a home a few months earlier, ate their food, and took the car keys. Alexandria Bonilla, KSL News Radio.
Our top national story this hour from ABC News. OpenAI Chief Executive Sam Altman may have some explaining to do when he heads to Washington next week to discuss next-generation artificial intelligence.
At an AI-related startup called Hugging Face, someone realized last Friday the company had been hit by a cyber attack. It wasn't a foreign actor or a domestic terrorist that had breached its system and stolen login data. It was an OpenAI agent that had discovered vulnerabilities in Hugging Face's security and decided on its own to break in.
ABC's Jim Ryan reporting. If you see someone waving to you on the road, it might be the BYU president. Shane Reese says he started challenging himself to find more ways to connect with others, and he's encouraging others to join him and start saying hi to strangers. Reese tells the Deseret News it's an easy way to lift other people's spirits. Your money at this moment, the Dow's up 175 points to 52,400. Coming up, we've got more thunderstorms today, but it'll be dry by Pioneer Day. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time, 10:02.
Mornings are for recharging.
And they're for starting your day right.
We volunteer to join you in the car. Get news and weather at 102.7 FM during the most important part of your day.
Andy and Amanda, each morning between 5 and 9 on KSL News Radio.
Man, I love this place. I've been surfing here since I was a kid. Now, seeing my grandson out on the water, it means everything to me. Watching him and taking in the blue waves, the sea breeze, the blurry horizon.
If you have geographic atrophy, or GA, subtle changes in vision could mean it's progressing toward irreversible vision loss. Izervay is proven to slow GA progression and could help preserve your vision for longer, so you may keep seeing the world around you. Izervay, or avacincaptad pegol, is an eye injection. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may cause blood in the white of the eye, blurred vision, or a temporary increase in eye pressure. Do not drive or use machinery until vision has recovered after an eye injection or exam. Ask your retina specialist how you can slow your GA with Izervay. To learn more, call 1-855-IZERVAY or go to izervay.com. Paid for by Astellas Pharma.
Buying a home can feel overwhelming, especially when your real estate agent recommends a lender you've never heard of. That's okay, but this is your mortgage. Before you lock anything in, get a second opinion. Loans by Rick has closed over 1,000 loans, often finding lower rates and closing costs. A quick second look could save you money. Call 801-809-SAVE. That's 801-809-SAVE or go to loansbyrick.com. Rick Urchenbaum, NMLS 241179 and Vintage Lending, NMLS 287106, Equal Opportunity Lenders. Buying a home? Before you choose your realtor's preferred lender, a bank, or a credit union, get a second opinion from Loans by Rick. With over 25 years of mortgage lending experience and access to more than 80 wholesale lenders, we can shop multiple loan programs to help find the financing that best fits your needs. Experience and finding ways to save you money? That's what we do. Call Loans by Rick today at 801-809-7283. That's 801-809-7283. Rick Urchenbaum, NMLS 241179 and Vintage Lending, NMLS 287106, Equal Opportunity Lenders.
Jane is a small business owner.
That's right.
And tell them what that's like, Jane.
Yeah, well, it's like a roller coaster with a lot of ups and downs, and some days things can feel like they're flying off the rails.
Yep, it's a lot. But the Total Solutions Advantage only from Comcast Business can help you manage it all. With the largest, fastest fiber-powered network designed for 100% reliability with business internet and wireless connect. Plus gig speeds with security and equipment included. All with a 5-year price lock.
Nice. So everything stays on track.
Exactly. The Total Solutions Advantage. Get started for just $60 a month for 12 months when you add wireless connect to a qualifying internet package. No one does business like Comcast Business.
Limited time offer. Restrictions apply. New customers only. 1-year agreement, paperless billing, and automatic payments with bank account required. $60 offer requires 300 meg internet, security edge, and additional qualifying service. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by UCCU. Auto loan rates as low as 4.74% APR. Let's go back to the traffic center. Cormac Bone.
Well, there's no delays on all our major freeways, even through Parley's Canyon or from Tooele County. I-15 clean and clear between Ogden and Provo speed-wise, but there are a few accidents, and the first is on southbound I-15 just before 90th South. They're out of traffic and in that right shoulder, so again, no delays. And the other crash is eastbound I-80 at I-215's westbound. They're also out of traffic behind the traffic cones as you transition to go south on the west belt, so no slowdowns there either. I'm Cormac Bone in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL weather forecast. More thunderstorms should roll through today. Today's high will only be 92. We get up to 94 Thursday as the storms start moving out. Mostly sunny, 99 on Pioneer Day. Right now, it is 78 degrees and mostly cloudy in Salt Lake City. I'm Andy Farnsworth from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
Well, right now, as we speak, the man accused of stabbing a Muslim kiosk worker at the Valley Fair Mall just a few days ago is in front of the judge for the first time. He has court at 10 o'clock. We'll let you know what happens with that. The prosecutors are filing this and charged it, Holly, as a hate crime.
So this story is super upsetting to me. Charging documents say that Peter Michael Larson went to the mall to, quote, make an exhibition of Muslims and hopefully be a catalyst. That's just terrible. Targeting somebody for their religion is just awful.
Yeah, and so what the district attorney's office ended up charging him with are several counts, 2 counts of attempted aggravated murder, and they aggravated it because it's a hate crime. And so these are first-degree felonies. They carry up to life in prison and a minimum term of 5 years. And he's also charged with another count of aggravated assault because he used a deadly weapon. and that's a third-degree felony. It's a prohibited dangerous conduct because he carried a dangerous weapon in a place where he should not have. He made the statement to the police that he did this because of the victim's religion, because he was Muslim, and he was hoping to get some attention. And obviously, he's presumed innocent, and we need to give him the benefit of the doubt. But
however, it was filmed.
There does seem to be a lot of people who were there that observed it, and he gave a statement and to the police. And this is a very serious crime that could carry. I mean, he could very well spend the rest of his life in prison. He was born in 1978, so he's not a young man by any means.
Well, I guess that's relative, right? He's 48.
Yeah, in my world, he's a very young man, yes.
He's 48. He told investigators he would have preferred that the victim die. I mean, look, that...
If he died, this would be a death penalty
That's just
case.
wrong.
This would be a death penalty
Yeah.
case.
Interesting. So I guess I have a couple of questions for you. So attempted aggravated murder, what type of penalties does this carry? Because you've already said he could spend the rest of his life in jail.
Yeah, it carries a life top. It carries the potential for life in prison, but it carries a minimum term of 5 years. So
you said life top. Does that mean like the top end?
Yeah, the top end. It's
Okay.
5 to life. I'm sorry. Yeah, I should have been more clear.
No, it's okay.
But it carries a prison term of from 5 years to life. It could carry a little bit more than that, but the way they've charged it looks like it's a 5 to life. And now he's charged with 2 counts of that. And then he's got the other one, which is a third-degree felony, which carries 5 years. So if a judge added them on top of each other, he would serve most of the rest of his life in prison, maybe all of it. Had the victim died, this would be a death penalty case, I'm sure, because of the hate crime component to it, added to a homicide. But yeah, this is a very serious crime. And the district attorney's office, when they first booked him into jail, they booked him in on second-degree felonies. That's why I was sort of interested to see what they ultimately charged him with. But given that they filed it as an attempted aggravated murder, that bumped it up to first-degree felonies. And again, those carry the potential for up to life in prison. Each count, and he's got 2 of those.
So his victim was stabbed more than 15 times. And a KSL.com story from just earlier this week said that he is hospitalized in critical condition. He's had to have surgery, as you might imagine, of course, and that he has a family that he was working to try and support. He has 2 babies and a wife that he's supporting. There is a GoFundMe for him that has been set up. You can find that on the KSL.com page. But it's just... I just don't understand what motivates people to do somebody like this, right? That was his goal, is to go and kill somebody who was a Muslim so that it could be a catalytic action for what? More hate crime?
Yeah, and it was hard. I mean, like I say, everything is he's presumed innocent. There were a lot of witnesses there that saw this. In fact, I think some of the witnesses
took him down.
Saved his life. They saved the victim's life.
Yeah.
He was asked to explain what happened, and he did indicate that, he said Muslims don't blend well with the community. They come in waves. Everyone that they want to be part of, and if they want to be part of everything, and if not, they'll just take it over. So. He said, he said this, according to the probable cause statement, I just did an attempted murder. I've never done anything like that before, but I think the country's worth it, and there needs to be something done. He said that Muslims act nice, but they're here to take over, and he wanted to be a catalyst for strong feelings and knew that there were consequences. He thought that he could start a movement, that he could do something that others might jump in.
A religious war.
That doesn't seem to be happening, and thank goodness it doesn't seem to be happening, because whatever his feelings about Muslims were, this was not the way to handle it.
He does have a criminal history. He was shot by Salt Lake City police officers in 2022 because he pointed a shotgun at them. He threatened to shoot firefighters who responded to a fire at a Salt Lake City residence. He obviously survived being shot by the Salt Lake City police. He was convicted of assault on a police officer and sentenced to 1 to 15 years at the Utah State Prison. He was also convicted in a separate case of aggravated assault for pulling a gun on a man working security. And he was last paroled from the prison in January of 2025.
So if he is convicted, and if he in fact did this crime based on a prior criminal history like that, and the fact that these carry a potential of up to life in prison. He will probably serve the balance of the rest of his life, or at least very most of it, in prison because, like you say, he's in his late 40s and he's got a prior criminal history. He's been to prison at least once, maybe twice, and these are serious crimes now. So, and I keep saying he's presumed innocent. That's 100%
Everybody
true.
is, because we need due
but
process.
there seems to be a pretty compelling case against him with witnesses and arguably a statement that akin to what you'd call a confession. So if I was prosecuting this case, I'd feel pretty good about it. If I was defending him, I think the first thing you'd need to do with this man is get him evaluated for mental health conditions, and that may, who knows what it'll get him. It may get him in a different unit when the prison, but it's probably not going to excuse his conduct. It's probably not going to be anything like that.
We only have about a minute left, but I wanted to ask you then about today's proceedings. So is this a preliminary hearing?
Oh, no, this is a first appearance.
This is just a first appearance.
This will go faster than our segment has. But
okay.
What'll happen is this. The judge will do three or four things. One, he'll read the charges. He'll say, okay, Mr. Larson, you are charged with the following offenses. And he won't allow him to enter a plea. He'll just say, here's what you're charged with. They will also address his whether or not he can afford an attorney. And if he can't, they will appoint one
will be appointed for you.
And then they will set the conditions of his release, which he won't be released. Right now it's no bail, so the judge will probably maintain that and not let him out on any sort of bail or other conditions. And then finally they will schedule a preliminary hearing, but they'll probably schedule an intermediate hearing before the preliminary hearing to see what can happen because he's probably going to get a public defender. They're going to take some time to get up to speed, and they're probably not going to be ready to do a preliminary hearing in the next 30, 60 days. So,
but he'll stay in jail until then.
Today's the first appearance. Let's get it rolling. Let's get this case going and let everybody know what's going on.
All right. Thanks for that. Up next on Inside Sources, election security. Well, we have to talk about a situation out of New Jersey. Some 6,000 people were registered to vote when they got their driver's license, even though they weren't citizens. Uh-oh. We're going to talk about how that process differs between New Jersey and Utah. Stay with us.
Several months ago, I talked to some of the people here at KSL News Radio about what they were doing and how much success they'd had with their various diet programs. And one of them that really appealed to me was SOTA, S-O-T-A, and I liked it because of what they teach. They teach you how to let go of the weight and keep it off for a lifetime. No shots, no pills, no lifetime dependency, just real food, expert guidance, and habits that last. And SOTA believes this, which is something that I really bought into. Weight loss should be temporary, and the results should not be. So instead of putting you on medication, things that you have to just take constantly and keep up with, just get the weight off and learn to keep it off with your diet, because weight loss medications can cost a bit, and this was something you're eating anyway, and I had to buy food anyway, so this wasn't even an expensive program. And right now, you can actually get 4 weeks for free when you call 866-800-SOTA and mention KSL News Radio. Thousands of success stories, and 4 weeks are available free. Seriously, it's something you should take care of, and you can start with, if it works for me, it'll work for you. And I had a hard time losing weight. I struggled, and I could not do it, so I contacted SOTA, and their product worked well. I'm going to stay with SOTA. I plan to stay with them for the rest of my life. Remember, SOTA is this, say it with me, state of the art.
Thursday, join KSL News Radio and NPS from 10 to 1 as the movie show stops by. Then browse and uncover what makes NPS so great. With 4 locations, NPS takes a new inventory every day. Then they check all competitors' retail pricing before marking items down 20 to 70% off. You're invited to visit the movie show Thursday from 10 to 1, and that's the first step to discovering NPS. Visit npsstore.com to begin your own NPS adventure. npsstore.com.
This is Colin Keary from the New Millennium Group. Have you ever had a question for your financial advisor only to find out that the next available appointment is months away? At New Millennium Group, we believe that financial advice should never be limited to once-a-year review meetings. Life happens every single day. Markets change, retirement questions come up, family situations evolve, and when they do, you deserve answers. That's why we pride ourselves at the New Millennium Group on being accessible when our clients need us most. Whether you're one wondering about your investments or a major life decision, our team is here to help provide guidance. We're not interested in being the firm you hear from once a year. We want to be your trusted resource throughout your entire retirement journey. If you're looking for a financial team that values relationships, communication, and responsiveness, we'd love to meet you. Give us a call today at 888-999-6370. That's 888-999-6370, or visit us at utahsfinancialplanner.com.
Right now, JCW's has 15 bus and billboards depicting our delicious, mouthwatering hamburgers across I-15. We've also just learned that I-15 averages 15 fender benders a day. Probably a coincidence, but just in case, keep your eyes on the road. Here's what our burgers sound like. Now, with your hands at 10 and 2, safely turn into one of our 5 locations in American Fork, Lehigh, Provo, South Jordan, and Harriman. JCW's. Quality and a lot of it.
When American troops withdrew from Afghanistan in 2021, thousands of evacuees fled to the U.S. for protection. Many Americans welcomed their new neighbors.
For the last week, the governor tells me his office has been getting calls nonstop with Utahns wanting to help.
When we saw the pictures and the videos coming out of Afghanistan, we prayed to be able to help them.
But then, what happened? Listen to Stranger Becomes Neighbor, wherever you get your podcasts.
Man, I love this place. I've been surfing here since I was a kid. Now, seeing my grandson out on the water, it means everything to me. Watching him and taking in the blue waves, the sea breeze, the blurry horizon.
If you have geographic atrophy, or GA, subtle changes in vision could mean it's progressing toward irreversible vision loss. Izervay is proven to slow GA progression and could help preserve your vision for longer, so you may keep seeing the world around you. Izervay, or avacincaptad pegol, is an eye injection. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may cause blood in the white of the eye, blurred vision, or a temporary increase in eye pressure. Do not drive or use machinery until vision has recovered after an eye injection or exam. Ask your retina specialist how you can slow your GA with Izervay. To learn more, call 1-855-IZERVAY or go to izervay.com. Paid for by Astellas Pharma.
My name is Dale Pazinski. I volunteer with United Way to help the homeless in my community learn computer skills and build a basic resume. I don't just wear the shirt, I live it.
Give, advocate, volunteer, Live United. Go to liveunited.org. Brought to you by United Way and the Ad Council.
Getting help with plumbing repairs is easier than you think. All you have to do is call Any Hour Services or schedule an appointment at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
The new Inside Sources.
It was a voter registration error, a software error, actually in New Jersey, that registered thousands of non-citizens to vote. Governor Mickey Sherrill says some 6,600 people were registered incorrectly when they got their driver's licenses.
Yeah, and a few of those, actually 400, ended up voting in the elections. The governor said there's no evidence that those votes changed the outcome of any elections, which I assume means none of the elections were within 400 votes.
Right.
So that wouldn't have made a difference. But it's interesting because it appears that what happened was when these people, non-citizens, got their driver's licenses, they automatically enrolled them made them eligible to vote. That probably wouldn't happen here in Utah because we don't issue driver's license. We give a driving privilege card, which obviously wouldn't
to
also
non-citizens.
Wouldn't register you to vote.
So in New Jersey, we can get a little bit more information from ABC News Chief White House correspondent Mary Bruce.
She says officials became aware of this issue last week and that all 6,600 people are now being scrubbed from their voter rolls. And she is vowing that this will not happen again, saying when they find problems, they will fix them. All of this is coming as President Trump is amping up his unproven claims of widespread election fraud. The president, quick to react to this news out of New Jersey, saying the episode underscores the need to pass his Save America Act, which of course is his bill requiring voter ID and proof of citizenship.
And that's really a concern, I think, for a lot of people who feel like the Save America Act goes a little bit too far in that it really is a voter suppression act. This plays right into the hand of the administration, saying, "Look, had this act been in place, which is proof of citizenship before you can vote, they wouldn't have been able to," and that may very well be true. So this is something that could help the president and our own Senator Mike Lee in trying to get the Save America Act back in front of Congress.
So they still don't have the votes, but that aside, one of the things I think that's interesting is the software asked them, "Are you citizens?" And they said no. And they were registered to vote anyway. So in Utah, when you go to register or to get your driver's license, there is a question on there. And by the way, you do have to prove citizenship when you go get your driver's license. There is a question on there that says, do you want to be registered to vote? If you say yes, then you get registered to vote, right? Even if you're a kid and you're 16 or 17, it can ask you, if you are not yet 18, do you want to be registered to vote when you turn 18? And you can say yes, and it will do that for you.
Yeah, it seems like it's been about 8 or 10 years in Utah since we did have to provide proof of citizenship to renew our driver's licenses. I know the last time I did, because
it was when we were going to Real ID, where you get that little star thing.
Right. Or even before that. I just remember renewing my driver's license some time ago, and I'd renewed it. I mean, come on, I'm 69 years old. I'd renewed it several times without any problem. But this time I had to bring in things that I didn't even, I had to go go get an extra Social Security card and go get a birth certificate, because who keeps those things? Smart people do, but I didn't.
It was heightened though. Yeah, right. And we all had to do that. I had to do that as well. In fact, there was all kinds of information that came out before that saying, this time when you renew, this is what you have to bring in. And it was to elevate our ability to have security behind our driver's licenses, but they still don't meet the benchmark that the Save America Act wants to prove citizenship. So even though we've had to do it, there's only 5 states out of 50 that meet the benchmark that the Save America Act would do.
You mean the smart driver's license wouldn't have been enough?
No, it's not enough. It's not enough. And so the one that lets us travel,
what else you'd have to do.
You have to do passport. There are things that have to change on the actual driver's license to be able to meet the standard that the Save America Act would want you to do.
Yeah, I did. So there were 3 things you had, and you had to produce 2 of them. As I recall now, the passport was one of those, but it wasn't necessary. You could have either.
You could do. Remember, it's always prove your ability to work in the United States. Passport will cover that, or you can do birth certificate and Social Security number.
Yeah, that's right.
Right, those types of things. Yeah. So in Utah, if you remember, the Lieutenant Governor's office, who's over elections in the state, they did an audit. They found out of more than 2 million voter records, 27 people were identified as non-citizens and taken off the rolls, and 13 of those had cast a ballot at one time.
You know, we've really had a lot more attention brought before us on election integrity, and I think what some of us have learned is that there's a high level of election integrity. I think that our own state of Utah, our own lieutenant governor, and our own county clerks have really set up themselves very well. And in fact, in Utah, we do a very good job of voter registration. We do a very good job of voter integrity, and I feel like our elections have been free and fair throughout. And of course, the Republicans can't complain anyway because they win everything here in Utah, it seems. So, and Trump won the last 3 times he ran here. So he was concerned about Utah, and he sort of got upset at them before the primaries recently because we're continuing to do mail-in voting. I don't see that changing anytime soon. And although Mike Lee said recently mail-in voting is
he said it needs to go away.
Yeah, it's about to go away.
He said it needs to go away, even though that's how he's won his elections. So look, it's part, I think, of the ongoing conversation. And are you going to be more targeted towards blue states? I don't know, but I do know that the DOJ is continuing to demand from even the state of Utah that we submit all voter information. So not just what's publicly available. There is plenty of information that's publicly available to people. There are certain groups of people for whom it's available. It's not actually just available for anybody, anytime, anywhere. But they're also wanting one centralized database. They want to be able to have your Social Security number, which the federal government already has, by the way. But they want to be able to have that, and your birth date and your address and your email and your phone number and all of that in one centralized database. Can you imagine the risk of identity theft with one centralized database?
Chinese interference, they get that information, we're doomed. What I guess I don't appreciate is the notion that if it's harder to vote, liberals won't vote, Democrats won't vote. And I don't know that that's true. I mean, the Republicans may be shooting themselves in the foot because what they're doing is they're going to make it much more difficult for people to vote. And I'll just say this, without vote by mail, it would be hard for me to vote because I'd have to take off and I have to go up to the Ogden Valley. I work downtown. Right now, Salt Lake. I'm 45 miles from my closest voting place, which is not the end of the world, but it's, on a day when I'm working late, whatever, it might be hard to get there. So the mail-in thing has been really a blessing for me personally and for my family. So I'd hate to see that go away. But on the other hand, we don't want 400 people voting like they did in New Jersey when they shouldn't be voting. So I think there's a balance here, but I'm not sure it's to make it much more difficult for everyone to vote.
Well, I think too, you have to acknowledge that you can have an error rate, that the human error rate for counting ballots by hand, for example, is much higher than the error rate for machines. But there's no such thing as zero. But I want to point out too about Lisa Murkowski. She's a senator from Alaska, and she's like, I cannot support the Save America Act as is, partially because it would require people to register to vote in person. And she said, let me give you an example. And then she talked about a remote community and the amount for airfare for them to fly into the closest county where they could register to vote, stay overnight, at minimum $1,000.
So
how is that not a poll tax?
Right. And so you'd expect a state like that to maybe be able to opt out of it or to make it. I know the Save America Act doesn't allow that, but my word, they must be doing everything they can there to make it palatable for people to vote, even if it means mail-in, because otherwise people just won't vote. They just won't.
Right. And then that becomes voter suppression. So I don't think we should be implementing poll taxes and suppressing voters.
Yeah.
Right. I agree. We shouldn't have non-citizens voting. That's one of the rights and responsibilities of being a citizen in the United States. However, I think we need to also be realistic about what's actually going on.
My first law partner used to say, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And I would say it ain't broke. Our election system works pretty well. Anyway, have you ever found yourself the victim of a financial scam? And if you do lose a bunch of your hard-earned money, what can you do about it? Coming up on Inside Sources, we'll talk with KSL investigator Matt Gephardt about the importance of timing. If you want to get your money back, you need to jump on it. Stay with us.
10:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Andy Farnsworth. KSL's top story this hour. People in a South Salt Lake neighborhood say the city needs to do something because cars are driving the wrong way down West Temple to get around construction. We spoke to one man in the neighborhood who didn't want us to use his name but says someone's going to get hurt.
And then it happened again and again. And now we're 8 or 9 weeks down the road and we're here and we just want something done about this.
He shared videos with KSL showing multiple vehicles coming down the wrong way on the street between 27th and 33rd South. He reached out to the mayor's office, code enforcement, and police, but says nothing has changed. The mayor's office tells KSL they are aware of the problem and are evaluating what should be done. KSL's top national story this hour from ABC News. A computer error in the New Jersey Motor Vehicles Division put more than 6,000 non-citizens on the state's voter rolls. Here's ABC News Chief White House correspondent Mary Bruce.
It will come as no surprise that the White House was quick to respond to this in a statement saying that this underscores the absolute necessity of the Save America Act. Of course, that's the legislation that President Trump has made a top priority up on the Hill that would require voter ID and proof of citizenship.
The governor described it as a software error that has been fixed, and they are purging non-citizens from their voter rolls. The wreckage of a Pan Am plane that went down 74 years ago has just been found 2,000 feet below the surface of the Atlantic Ocean. The plane had taken off from Puerto Rico on the way to New York. 52 people died in that crash. Your money at this moment, the Dow is up 196 points to 52,421. NASDAQ down 7 points to 25,830. Coming up, we got more thunderstorms in the forecast for today. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time, 10:31.
A reminder about the simplest way to get updated for your day.
Hit your KSL preset when you jump in the car, and we'll take care of the rest.
Hear key news updates and traffic reports.
Andy and Amanda from 5 to 9 in your car.
KSL News Radio at 102.7 FM.
Hi, this is Doug Wright, and I've been a fan of Hale Center Theater from the very beginning. But there is something about this season that is just off the charts. Maybe it's due to the 3 stages now, which accommodate an amazing variety. Take, for example, showing right now on the Beehive stage, Thornton Wilder's Pulitzer Prize-winning novel and Tony Award-winning play is an absolute must-see. It's Our Town. This is a touching story focusing on 2 families in a small town, the sorrows, the joys, the reflections of lives well lived. And then, coming up, we've got Joseph and the amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat. The music, the staging, the pure fun of it makes Joseph an all-time favorite. And in mid-August, it's Moriarty. This is the time for you to lock down your tickets for all of the wonderful productions at Hale Center Theater. And all you have to do is go to hct.org.
When you see this in your kitchen,
the stainless steel fridge is covered in fingerprints.
you hear this.
Leslie, people are going to think you were raised in a barn or by wolves, or raised in a barn by wolves.
Fortunately, Wyman Stainless Steel 3-in-1 cleans, shines, and protects to give you the best shine. A spray and a wipe will have your fridge shining like a mirror.
Wow, my fridge looks brand new. Your fridge looks amazing, Leslie. Sorry, I was being a little dramatic earlier.
Your kitchen says a lot about you. Let it brag with Wyman.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
ZipRecruiter. Hi, I'm Mike Kay at My Policy Quote, and if you missed open enrollment or did enroll in one of those marketplace government plans, it's not too late. I save my clients 30 to 60%. That's an average of $3,500 to $9,000 in premium savings. At My Policy Quote, you can choose any doctor, 0 deductible for outpatient expenses, and oh, one more thing, premiums are not tied to your income, so there's no surprise tax penalty at the end of the year like those government plans. And unlike those ACA plans where the use prices are dictated, with me, all of your costs are managed by you, so you control your out-of-pocket. If you pay your own health insurance, you're on COBRA, uninsured, your employer is just too much, or even self-employed or small businesses, call me, Mike, today, 385-367-6779. Again, that's 385-367-6779, or visit mypolicyquote.com. That's mypolicyquote.com to get started now.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by UCCU. You deserve to love where you bank. Here's Cormac Bone.
The accident that we had on I-15 in Midville before 90th South has cleared off the road, so I-15 running without accident or delay between Ogden and Provo. And really, the only issue we have is out on SR-36 in Erta at Erta Way. The accident there still really closing each direction of SR-36 down to one lane, so it's a little bit congested there. Otherwise, normal delays to expect eastbound SR-190 or eastbound 2100 North in Lehigh, a little heavier between 2300 West and I-15. I'm Cormac Bone in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL weather forecast, more thunderstorms in the forecast for today. A high of only 92 degrees. I say only because we're going up to 94 tomorrow, 99 Friday, and then in the hundreds Saturday through Tuesday. So it's going to be warm again, so enjoy this while it lasts. Right now it's 79 degrees and cloudy in Salt Lake City. I'm Andy Farnsworth from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
Well, if you're like me and you've dropped money at times on the street or lost your wallet or whatever, you just better kiss it goodbye. But if you find yourself the victim of a financial scam, are there things you can do to get your money back?
So, look, there's a chance, and it is something that you have to do pretty quickly. So we have KSL investigator Matt Gebhardt who's joining us right now to give us a tiny sliver of good news.
A tiny sliver of good news. Well, this all begins with people think investigative reporting is glamorous. They've all seen, things like the Pelican Brief and stuff. Most of it is reading very, very boring reports. And I was sitting down with a very, very boring report a few days ago, and it was from the FBI. It was their cybercrime thing, and I was just kind of looking through, what's going on in Utah, how have things changed, and nighttime reading, and something jumped out to me, and it was that they have this asset recovery team that when you act quickly, they jump into action and they try to freeze money that you've wired to a scammer. And I'm going, all right, cool. So what? One guy got his money back at one point sometime, I think. And as I'm reading, it's like, oh my gosh, in 2025, they actually had like a 58% success rate, which that's what I said. Wow. If you've been doing this a long time, that is, wow. That's like, because you really, the adage has been for a long time, dummy reporters like me have gone on TV and said, if you send it away, it is gone forever.
Yeah.
Maybe not the case.
Wow.
You would almost think, Matt, that's immediate. If you wire it, it's gone. There's no trace of it, because a lot of it, as you've taught us in the past, is wired overseas.
Yep.
So this is surprising to me. It really is.
It's surprising to me too, and that's certainly why we reported on it. And in fact, their 2026 numbers are even better. At least Salt Lake City's numbers, their margins are even better as far as what they're recovering. So the trick here is that it doesn't work with all kinds of transfers, right? Sure. So the most common ways that we are sending money these days, and crooks have figured it out, the most common ways that we're sending money isn't bank-to-bank wire transfers. It's through Cash App, it's through Venmo, it's through Zelle, and this does not work for that. If you send stuff that way, it is gone instantaneously. It is like handing somebody a $20 bill. With banks, however, though, there are all the wonky processes.
If you're going to wire money through your bank.
Yeah, if you wire money through your bank, there are all of the wonky processes that banks go through. And some of it has to do with, anti-terrorism efforts, and some of it just has to do with the fact that, these are big companies, and big companies often are not the most efficient. But if you act quickly, they say 48 hours or less.
Oh.
I would say 1 hour or less if you can.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many times I've been interviewing somebody who's a victim of a scam, and they tell me, they had all the answers. I thought I was talking to my bank or this friend of mine or this other, and it was the minute they hung up the phone, they went, what have I done? But then they don't know what to do.
Yeah.
Right.
And the answer is, call your bank and call the FBI immediately. IC3.gov. It stands for Internet Crimes. There's 3 C's. It's an acronym. Anyway, IC3.gov is the FBI's website. But really start with your bank and do it immediately. Let them know it happened immediately, and get them to freeze the money if they can. And in those cases, some of it might get back to you. A 58%. Look, that's not 100% success rate. That's a F.
That's a big number. I don't know.
Well, it's an F if it's a letter grade.
Right.
But it's not nothing, and it's a chance. And you got to act quick, because it's not instantaneous, but it is still quick the way money leaves its hands.
All right, I had to look it up. It's Internet Crime Complaint Center. Those are the 3 C's.
Thank you.
But it's interesting to me, because I thought, like you, and maybe it's because we've been talking to you about that very story. I remember you have told us before that you had somebody who said, I realized it as soon as I hung up. And I guess it's good to know, because I thought it was just gone.
Yeah, and it is. If you send it with a peer-to-peer payment app, it is if you give them access to a gift card number. But when it comes to banks, their processes are slow enough that sometimes you get a chance of getting it back.
I think it's interesting, because I've seen reports about people going into banks, maybe people who are older than even Greg and I, and are saying, I need to withdraw $2,000 and wire it, this place. And that even bankers now, tellers, are able to say, okay, I think this is a scam, right? Because they've seen this before. So it's good to know that if Grandpa feels like he's being threatened and needs to hurry and wire money, but if he's doing it through a bank, or he's going to take it out to go buy gift cards, that would be a huge red flag. Yeah. But at least there's something there that could happen. I'm surprised to hear you say even up to 48 hours.
Yeah. I mean, listen,
an hour's better.
The red flags are what the red flags have always been as far as these scams go, and they're so sophisticated, and we've talked about this many times about how they're targeting us as individuals, and you really, it's so easy, because it's not, it's not the typical scam. The red flags are there. There's a certain sense of urgency. It tends to be the big one. There's a certain sense of don't give you need to act quickly. So a lot of times, one of the really popular ones we're seeing right now is they call you and they say, we're with your credit card, we're with your bank, or they text you or whatever, and your account has been compromised. Yeah, and we need to act quickly to lock it down. And so you actually and they have all the right answers. And so you actually think you're dealing with these security people who need this information in order to lock down your account.
Right.
Because if you're going to give your PIN number to anybody, your PIN number, the N in number means number. Anyway, if you're going to give your PIN to anybody, it's going to be the teller machine, right? It's going to be the bank. And so that you can see how these scams certainly work. And part of what you were just talking about how banks will warn people when they walk in to take money out, some of that is them being nice, sure, but some of that is also forced through litigation because there were some major lawsuits. One of the big ones had to do with Western Union a decade or so ago, because it was like, you guys are at the center of so much of this wire transfer fraud. Yeah. You should be doing more. Yeah. And ultimately, I don't remember if it was a settlement or what, but ultimately Western Union then said, began training their people. We need to be proactive when people come in and say, I'd like to wire this money away.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. And I would not be surprised to see similar things happening with the new technology, the newer technology, your Cash Apps, your Zells, your PayPals, your what have you, where it's like so much of these are becoming the number one things where people are sending this money away. Is enough being done there to stop it before the fraud happens? Because we're talking about a multi-billion-dollar industry here. Yeah. Surely something needs to be done.
And it's interesting because you say 48 hours, but I would say based on what you're telling me, this is really great news. That even if you're over that 48 hours, it's worth a try. 100%. It's worth contacting your bank and doing what you can.
100%. But as far as being able to freeze it before it leaves, that's where it's like,
We do have a question from a texter. What should a business do if they took a credit card payment from a bad actor and they shipped product? Do they have any recourse?
Well, you don't have recourse under consumer protection laws. Not a lawyer is maybe a better question for you, Greg. But my understanding is, fraud is fraud, and passing a bad check or giving. What did he say? It was a bogus credit card?
Yeah. Well, that they had received a credit card payment, but that was a bad actor. So the funds weren't actually there, but they shipped the product.
I see. So stolen credit card number. Well, it sounds like it's certainly report it to the police. Certainly, you could report it to the FBI. As far as what to do is, so I assume this person's a victim of, somebody disputed the charge and then they ultimately had to give the money back. I think it's probably a lesson where you're looking forward to do a better job of verifying who your customers are.
Yeah, no harm in at least trying to get the product back too. Thanks
for joining us. And I just have to add this one last thing. There's a scammer alert from the FBI about the IC3 2 days ago. People are trying to now impersonate the FBI that investigates stolen money. Okay, on that happy note, when we come back, home ownership rates, we're going to talk about that. They're not as high as you might think. House prices also have hit a record high in Salt Lake City. Ouch. We're going to talk about that. And in the next segment, which is brought to you by the Stern team of Amada Real Estate.
Hey, what if I told you this? 4 weeks from now, 4 weeks from today, everything could feel different in your life. Your energy, your weight, the way your clothes fit, that is what the SOTA Dynamic Diet is built to do. And right now, listeners of our program can get 4 weeks free if they call 866-800-SOTA, S-O-T-A, and mention KSL News Radio. I contacted SOTA back in April. It was about the 8th or 9th of April when I hooked up with them and said, look, what can you do for me? And they said, we have a nutritionist who will contact you. She will put you on a diet plan, and you don't have to buy the food through us. You don't have to spend any money on pills or medication or anything like that. Just go to your grocery store, and we'll give you a diet that will work for you. I said, I'll follow it. Sign me up. I lost weight every week that I was on the plan. They said you could lose something like 2 to 5 pounds a week. I lost over 4 pounds a week for 7 weeks. 7 weeks, seriously. I feel better. I'm more confident. And you know what? I've kept the weight off. SOTA Diet Nutrition is this. Say it with me. State of the art.
There's nothing better than getting outside with the people you love. And in Utah, we have endless ways to stay active and healthy outdoors. But staying healthy also means staying safe. Intermountain Health recommends that you wear the right gear, stay hydrated, protect your skin, and plan ahead before you go. Know your limits and choose activities that keep it safe and fun for everyone. Because when you make health and safety a part of every adventure, you're taking care of what matters most: your life, your health.
If you're ready to buy a home or sell a home and you're worried about the current real estate market because of what you've heard from some of your friends or family, well, we're here to tell you that you really shouldn't be worried, because now is a great time to buy and sell with our friends at the Stern Team, powered by Almada Real Estate.
And here's why. Buyers have more options due to increased inventory, which gives them the power to negotiate for repairs, interest rate buy downs, and closing cost assistance. While at the same time, sellers are still getting top dollar for their homes, with home values that are higher today than ever before. So whether you're looking to buy or sell, the current real estate market presents a win-win opportunity for both buyers and sellers.
But you still do want to make sure that you're working with a team of real estate experts you can trust that can get you some great results. And that's our friends at the Stern Team, powered by Almada Real Estate.
They have helped thousands of Salt Lake City homeowners, and they're ready to help you. To get started, just go to thesternteam.com. That's thesternteam.com, or Google The Stern Team.
Join KSL for a special movie show this Thursday from 10 to 1 at the Salt Lake NPS Store, 1600 Empire Road in Salt Lake City, npsstore.com.
Progressive knows you've got plenty of things to worry about.
What time does the kids' practice end? How long has that check engine light been on? Are takeout containers microwave safe?
So the last thing you should have to worry about is what to do if something unexpected happens on the road. That's why if you're ever in a major accident, Progressive's accident response can detect it and send help. It's just one less thing to worry about.
How long does chicken last in the fridge?
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Limited availability in California. Driver is responsible for emergency and towing charges not covered by the policy.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
ZipRecruiter. Usually when something sounds way too good to be true, it is. Imagine someone saying you can cut your mobile bill in half. Sounds like a fantasy, but with Xfinity Mobile, it's the real deal. Because when you have Xfinity Internet, you can cut your mobile bill in half, plus try Xfinity Mobile free for a year. No commitment. That's a lot of streaming, sharing, scrolling, whatever else you can do with your phone, all for half the price and none of the commitment. That means you'll save big over Verizon, AT&T, and T-Mobile. Wild. Now all you have to do is think about how you'll spend all that extra money. Call 1-800-XFINITY, go to xfinitymobile.com, or visit your local Xfinity store to switch today. Xfinity. Imagine that. Restrictions apply. Savings compare one line of Xfinity Mobile Select to comparable plans from T-Mobile, Verizon, and AT&T as of 3/24/26. Taxes, fees extra. $30 monthly discount limited to new mobile customers only after 12 months. Regular rates apply. Go to xfinitymobile.com.
Inside Sources.
If you're in the market for a new house, you might have to get a little creative to make it work. So between record high home prices and higher interest rates, you might be in for a bit of a challenge.
But like our friends at the Stern Team of Almada Real Estate say, more challenge does not mean that it's impossible. Just because it's more challenges, it just means you've got to get a little more scrappy.
So it's interesting. I've seen several housing stories about different ways that people are getting scrappy in finding solutions, right? So one of them that KSL did recently was an ADU, an accessory dwelling unit for mom to move into as she downsized out of her main home, and then her son and his family was going to take over the big home, and she was going to live in the backyard in this ADU.
Right.
That's scrappy.
Yeah, that's thinking ahead. And I would say this also. I mean, I've lived in Utah for almost 70 years. Housing prices continue to go up. I know they don't. It's like what they say, playing with a slinky while you're walking upstairs. They continue to go up, but there's a little up and down even within that.
Yeah.
But buying a house is still a great investment for our young people. And if you're thinking of sticking around and you're thinking of having a house for 10 years, it's still a good thing. The problem I think a lot of people have is just getting their foot in the door. But if you do get in a position where you can afford a house, I think it's, notwithstanding interest rates and high prices, that house is going to be worth more than what you paid for it in a couple of years, I think.
So True. Equity grows, right? So the Salt Lake Board of Realtors released data for 5 counties along the Wasatch Front: Salt Lake, Utah, Tooele, Davis, and Weber. They said the price point for the typical home now is the highest for any quarter on record. So in Salt Lake, it's now $645,000. So look, people are trying to get creative, and how do they do that? Condos, that's an entry, right? And our friends at the Stern team have told us that several times. Russell Fawcett has told us that. You can start in a condo and you will still build equity. It's not exactly the same as a single owner dwelling, but it does get you your foot in the door. You can also try, like we said, the ADU option. I think it's multi-generational living. In fact, I've seen people doing that. I told you, my daughter said, hey, let's buy 5 acres and you build a house and I'll build a house and we can live together.
There you go.
And share yards. We can share yard work, I guess. So I don't know if we're going to do that. But
Man, I tell you, my kids have all moved out of state. I would do that in a minute. But maybe after a year, I'd say, okay, you guys, let's pack it up and
could
move
you have
again.
your own mini HOA? That would be
that'd
a
be
family
cool.
a family HOA.
Yeah.
I don't know. So look, it's also interesting. I saw the story in the Washington Post about home ownership maybe not being as high as you think. The reason it caught my eye is because they were saying, look, it depends on how you count the numbers. And of course, that is always how you count. That's how data works, right? It depends on what you're looking at. And one of the things that they said is people look at right now, the way they're looking at is the question is there a mortgage on this house, right? Are you living in this house? But what they're not asking is, are there people here who aren't the owners? So what they're trying to get at is, do you have adult children living in this house? Because they're not homeowners, right? And so that actually changes the percentage. That was the argument that they were making in this Washington Post article. It changes the percentage if you start looking at, are there adult children living in mom and dad's house? Because this is an economist view saying we've been looking at home ownership the wrong way. So I thought that was an interesting argument, actually.
I would think that maybe, and I'm not an economist and I'm not trying to give anybody advice, but it would seem to me that there should be a way that we can allow parents to gift children more than what we currently do, because there's a limit on how much you can gift. And I only say that because...
Do you mean tax implication-wise?
Right. And income to the child.
Okay.
If a child's trying to buy a house and you're a parent and you're flush, you're okay, you'd like to help them out. If you give them too much, it's income, and you exceed the limit. And lenders will say, if it's a loan, we don't want any part of it.
Mm-hmm.
If you're taking out a loan with mom and dad, don't come to us because we don't want to be part of a 2-loan system, and besides, you may not qualify for our loan anymore. So, I mean, I'm just thinking out loud here a little bit, but there's got to be a way that maybe under some, housing plan in the future, that parents can help their kids out a little bit more, at least get their foot in the door.
Yeah, I mean, that's interesting, and it's kind of, I think, looks at, well, why are they living with mom and dad? Probably because they can't afford to get a home. The Deseret News had an article just this week that asked the question, how low do mortgage rates, the interest rates, need to go to make buying a house in Utah more affordable? Well, there's a new analysis that finds that there's even a place in Utah that even if you cut it to zero, it's not affordable. It's still not affordable.
You can't afford it even with no interest.
Yeah, for most Utahns.
That might be true.
Median earners.
Although, interest rates are relative. When I bought my first house, we were at 11, 12%, and thought
Mine were in the teens, my first house.
Right. We thought we were doing really well because interest rates at the time were in the teens. We get 11% and our neighbor is jealous.
Woohoo.
Now there's no way people would. And now we're at 6% and people are going, oh, that's horrible.
I know,
and
it is relative.
It is bad in terms of where we've been over the last 10 years, where we had interest rates really in the low, 3, 4, or even lower for some people, 2 in that range. We got spoiled, and because the economy was great. Maybe we'll get back down to that. I know the president is dying to get interest rates down, but the Fed is going, well, as soon as you do that, we're going to inflation and other things are going to go up. So there's a balance. We continue to maintain that balance. But I would just say this, and we talked with the folks at the Stern team of Omada Real Estate about that, and they, of course, they try to be as objective as possible, but they say, it's never a bad time to buy a home, just because of the fact that values of the home go up. It's better than buying a car or buying a yacht, or I don't know what else you can do with your money. No one could afford a yacht.
Rent.
But rent, and even rent. And I'm not saying, people need to just consult their own finances to see, but sometimes it's even better than renting because, like you say a minute ago, you get something in return in the form of what's called equity.
Yeah. And it's, look, I wanted to talk about the interest rates dropping because, first of all, I don't think it's realistic to make a plan that we're going to wait until interest rates go down to 3%. I don't think that's going to happen. I think it was an aberration. I think it was directly related to some of the other forces that are just unique and will not come back around. But there's a New York-based real estate investment platform. It's Ziphy.ai. That's where we got the data about what would interest rates have to be to make it affordable for a median earner. And so this story was by Lisa Riley Roche. She was a Deseret News reporter for more than 3 decades. And she just pointed to St. George, for example. So the median price of a home in St. George is $627,000, but the median income is just under $87,000. And so if you did that 30% or the 1/3, it's not enough. Even at 0% interest, it's not enough.
Right. To buy a median home. I mean, there are homes in everywhere that are less.
Then you start smaller, right? And I think sometimes we have young adults who think that they can move into a brand new home or a home as big as mom and dad's. They don't want the fixer-upper. They don't want something that is older. And when you and I bought our first homes, that's kind of was the norm for a starter home. You get something small, and then you start building equity, and you can work up from there. My first house was 1,700 square feet.
And we were happy to have it.
And happy to have it.
Because living in mom's basement was loved
that was
her to
not
death,
an option.
But it was not that fun, right? Or
an
renting.
Option in my house.
Yeah, because renting was expensive at the time too, and it still is. So yeah, I mean, I hope that young people and people that are trying to buy a home will look around and find that there are some homes, fixer upper. You've got some time, you've got some skills, you can do some things to make the value up.
And even if you don't, there's YouTube.
Right? Yes. Right. You can learn just about anything on YouTube. I learned that.
That's right. And remember, you can learn your home's true value in just 30 seconds. Visit sternteam.com to find out more.
Yeah. Keep your hopes up. Things could get better. Well, when we come back after the break, we'll get updates on the flooding and recovery efforts now underway in Beaver City and Beaver County. We'll also discuss a new report that finds shoplifting nationwide is up, and many of the people are stealing basic essentials. Those conversations coming up next.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
11 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Heather Peterson. KSL's top story this hour. A woman has been arrested after police say she called the Nephi City offices impersonating a federal officer and demanding money. Police say Bobby Joe Sorensen made several calls to the Treasury Department telling them she was a federal officer from Nevada. That's when police say she told the workers they were all going to be arrested. KSL legal analyst Greg Skordas says she may end up facing misdemeanors instead of a felony.
There was not an immediate threat, not an immediate fear for the people on either side that they were going to be arrested, and that made it a little bit of a lesser crime. It's still serious. It carries up to a year in jail.
Previous arresting documents show Sorensen made similar threats to others in Nephi, Nevada, and in Spanish Fork, including making a bomb threat. 2 suspects were arrested in connection to an aggravated robbery and kidnapping in Mill Creek. Unified Police say it happened earlier this week when the victim was lured into a home under false pretenses and kept from leaving. They were then reportedly threatened with weapons and robbed. The victim escaped and went to police. Wyatt Hansen and James Waterman were booked into the Salt Lake County Metro Jail. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. The Trump administration has struck a nuclear deal with a Middle East ally. ABC News Global Affairs correspondent Martha Raddatz reports from Amman, Jordan.
Officials tell us the president has approved an agreement with Saudi Arabia to partner with them to develop a civil nuclear energy program, but that does raise concerns about nuclear proliferation all across the region.
The agreement will likely face opposition from congressional leaders. Your money at this moment, the Dow is up 169 points, the S&P up 15, and the NASDAQ is down 7. Coming up, most of the state on flood watch today. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time, 11:01.
The sources where we get our news matters.
When you listen to Utah's Morning News, we want you to feel the stories are important to you and trustworthy. This is Amanda Dixon.
And I'm Andy Farnsworth. Join us weekday mornings on KSL News Radio.
Wow, this is the time of year when the temperatures are off the chart, and it's not the time for us to go into our backyards where it is so warm, fire up the hot grill, and then slap on a steak, and then stand there and try to make it taste as good as Ruth's Chris Steakhouse. First of all, it's impossible. So why not just go to Ruth's Chris Steakhouse for the best meal you have had all summer long? The steaks cooked to perfection, other wonderful entrees as well, from seafood to poultry, you name it, the side dishes, the desserts. You don't have to do the cleanup. You don't have to stand there over the hot grill. You just sit back in that air-conditioned comfort with the people you love, and you have a dining experience that you're going to remember. Hotel Park City up in Summit County, there's a Ruth's Chris there, and downtown Salt Lake City, 275 Southwest Temple.
Is your financial advisor offering you up to a 25% upfront bonus? And are they promising you up to 9% growth per year, all for your retirement income? If not, then you need to come to Trajan Wealth. Hi, I'm Jeff Jr., founder of Trajan Wealth. And if you plan to retire within the next 10 years, don't wait only to find out it's too late. I've seen hardworking folks like you retire only to be required to go back to work, all because their advisor told them guarantees like these were too good to be true. They aren't. That's up to $25,000 upfront or up to $9,000 per year on $100,000, guaranteed for retirement income. Don't keep working when you're supposed to be retired, and don't let any financial advisor tell you it's too good to be true. Unlock your Trajan family office at TrajanWealth.com or call 1-855-TRAJAN-1. That's 1-855-TRAJAN-1.
Annuity guarantees are based on the claims paying ability of the issuing insurance company. DBA in most states has Trajan Wealth Insurance Solutions.
This is Nate Orchard from Advanced Window Products. When you live in Utah, your windows do a lot more than let the light in. They protect your home from freezing winters, blazing summers, and everything in between. That's why Advanced Window Products builds every window for your local climate. No middleman, no out-of-state delays, just factory direct quality, custom made for your home. Imagine a quieter home, a warmer home, a cooler home. Our high-efficiency vinyl windows are engineered to lower your energy bills and boost your comfort all year round. And installation is done by our own certified in-house crews, never subcontractors. That's why Utah homeowners give us 5-star reviews. Right now, take advantage of our anniversary sale. For a limited time, get $2,500 off when you buy 10 or more windows. Call 801-850-9100. That's 801-850-9100. For 40 years, Advanced Window Products has been the name Utah trusts for custom replacement windows and sliding glass doors. Advanced Window Products, built here, installed here, trusted here. Call 801-850-9100 for that $2,500 off, or visit us at advancedwindows.com to schedule your free in-home estimate.
All in together now, we can make it better, can we do it? We'll rope it up, cause we know how to jump.
Moving and eating better every day can help make you and your kids healthier. Search We Can online to find out more. A message from the Ad Council, HHS, and NIH's We Can program.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by UCCU. You deserve to love where you bank. Here's Cormac Bone.
All your major freeways still looking really good. No accidents or delays on I-15. We are just seeing normal congestion in Lehigh, eastbound 2100 north from about 3600 west over to I-15. Pioneer Crossing a little lighter, but still the normal scattered delays between Redwood Road and I-15 both directions. I'm Cormac Bone in the KSL Traffic Center.
A chance of more thunderstorms this afternoon, and the potential for flash flooding is high, especially around recent burn scars. The highs are in the low 90s today and tomorrow before we get to 99 on Friday, and then we'll get into the hundreds the next couple days after that. Right now it's 81 and mostly cloudy. I'm KSL News Radio's Heather Peterson from the Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradios.com, we're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
Well, cleanup efforts in rural Utah continue today as Beaver works to get back up and running after some really devastating floods, thanks largely to that huge cottonwood fire burn scar.
So if you've been watching the videos and pictures that have been coming out of that area, they're just heartbreaking. Homes damaged, tons of mud, animals wading through high water and the rivers. It's been kind of hard to watch.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty hard to live in as well. Let's get an update on how things are going today. And joining us now is the mayor of Beaver, Matt Robinson. Matt, thanks for joining us again this morning.
Thank you, guys. It's great to be with you.
Thanks, Mayor. How's cleanup going so far?
I would say it's going relatively well, all things considered. It's an interesting balance right now as we're contemplating cleanup. We're also expecting more rain. So, there's this balancing act about trying to restore infrastructure and keep people safe, and then balancing that with everybody's desire to start cleaning up because it's a mess. So we're trying to stay focused and keep our priorities in order, and that is keeping people safe and making sure that we're not neglecting preparations for additional floodwaters.
And I heard we interviewed somebody that may have been one of the commissioners who was working a bulldozer and trying to expand the riverbanks a little bit. So in anticipation of some further rains. So A, Mayor, are you expecting further rains? And B, do you think that you've got enough mitigation in place right now so that those rainwaters will be contained a little bit better?
Yeah, it's a great question. To say that we've been working around the clock is accurate. I wouldn't even dare to guess how many pieces of heavy equipment, dozers and excavators we have had, not to mention, smaller equipment like backhoes and skid steers that folks have had on their own private property trying to fortify. But the effort has been extensive, both leading into Sunday afternoon's flooding and since Sunday afternoon's flooding. So I think we're as prepared as we could hope to be. With that said, I'll be honest, if the volume of water comes out of the canyon like we saw on Sunday afternoon, I don't think it's going to matter that much, to be honest with you.
That was unprecedented, right? Levels of water. Look, I want to ask you a question about your community. How are people feeling? What's the sentiment emotionally? How are they doing?
Oh, we lost him.
That was such a good question.
Yeah. I'm wondering
He'll
also,
come back, I know.
When we get him back, if people have people been evacuated, or are people back in their homes, or do we know that yet? I was going to ask him that. Well, we can wait until he comes back, but
I think some of them have been able to go to their homes. I don't know that they're able to sleep or stay in their homes. I don't know
the combination between those burn scars and the rains has just been devastating. And that whole community, that whole county. And yesterday it was really touching to hear from some of the administrators there, because they were getting some support and some love from neighboring counties, and people were just standing
county administrators
up to the plate.
Look, there's a really fun story that KSL did yesterday about Utah Tech University sending student athletes to Beaver to help with the flood relief efforts. So they were filling sandbags and doing things, I think, to take muscles, which is something that I thought was really fun. So they sent student athletes from the football and from the women's basketball teams up there to take over some sandbag duty and fill in those sandbags.
Yeah, good for them. They don't really need student athletes, but you need some healthy, some strong bodies to do that. But that's great.
I think
good
they
for them
deserve
for doing
a shout
that too.
out.
Oh, absolutely. No, I think it's awesome. I just hope that they're not limited to that.
Oh yeah,
you can get the help
I agree.
that you can.
So I haven't driven on this road. You probably have, though. SR 153 in southern Utah. It washed out, and UDOT has been forced to close it indefinitely. It's in Beaver Canyon, and I'm just looking at the pictures. Like half the road fell down the mountainside. Like I'm not going to drive on that.
Oh boy!
Right?
Yeah,
so
I think I know exactly where that is.
Yeah. I mean, very scenic, very
That's
beautiful.
washed out.
Also, it's gone.
Maybe not. Maybe it won't open for a year.
Yeah,
Until they
it's
can get
closed.
that built
It's
back
closed between mile markers 3 and 35 east of Beaver, and it will be a long-term closure.
Yeah, that's too bad. I mean, and you'd expect something like that, and homes and other structures, roads, whatever, getting washed out. It's kind of a once in a decade or once in a century storm, but it was also the combination between the fire, the burn scar that had done away with a lot of the vegetation and and burnt the soil. And it just, I mean, I can't imagine what they're suffering down there.
We have Mayor Robinson back. Thanks for coming back, Mayor. We appreciate it. I was just
Sorry about
asking you. No, it's all good. We were just asking you about the emotional well-being of everybody in your area.
Yeah, thank you for that question. We're doing amazingly well. We're obviously a small, close-knit community. We go to church together. We sit next to each other at the Friday night football games. We run into each other at the post office and the grocery store. We really love and care for one another. And I think that is the headspace and the posture of our citizens right now is looking out for and caring for each other. And you know what? What I found in my life is if you're going through a tough time, if you're able to think about and help somebody else in need, it's a great way to climb out of sort of feeling sorry for yourself and spending too much time thinking about it. And I think that is an accurate description of where we are today. If there is a silver lining, guys, when things like this happen, you are reminded people are really incredible. It really has been amazing. I just got off the phone right before we jumped on the air here, another significant contribution coming into our community, and it's pretty amazing.
That is amazing.
Mayor, we had heard yesterday that, and we've only got about a minute left, that the drinking water had been breached by the storm water and that it was not safe to drink. Do you know if that's been fixed?
We're working on it. Aside from keeping our citizens safe, our drinking water has been our number 2 priority. And we hope that by this afternoon for Beaver City, that's the incorporated city, we can deliver safe water again. That's our goal. Oh, wow. The residents of the Grove may be a day or two lagging behind, but we're hopeful that we can deliver some positive news to our citizens this afternoon.
That's great.
I have one last quick question, and that is if people along the Wasatch Front or really anywhere else in Utah, if we wanted to help, are there things we can do, or are we more of a hindrance?
Well, we're going to have a huge day of service on Saturday from about 8 a.m. to noon. So if anyone has a desire to come help us clean up, come on down to Beaver this weekend. We'll put you to work. Bring a pair of gloves and a shovel.
Perfect. All right. Thank you. That was Mayor Matt Robinson, Beaver City Mayor, and you heard it right here. If you want to help, Saturday morning, 8 to noon. Next on Inside Sources, we want to talk about outdoor safety. We know a lot of Utahns are hitting the great outdoors for the long holiday weekend, and there are some things you need to know to keep you, yourself, your family, and your pets safe. Coming up next.
When you need a new water heater, you need it right now.
Yep, can't wait on that.
When you need a new furnace or a new air conditioner come the summertime, you need it right now. So Superior Water and Air has a wonderful program where they can help you with financing. If you need it, get it today and pay it off when you get your tax refund or just over time.
And that's one of the great things is they have multiple financing options. It's not just one, okay, you've got to do it this way. It's, you can wait till just after your tax refund. Well, what if you need no payments until later in the year?
Yeah.
They can work with you like that because, look, they want to help you get you back on your feet with the thing that doesn't work that you got to use.
Yeah.
And they'll just work with your situation. What a great way to do it.
I loved introducing you to my friends at Superior because they're just great people. And when you invite somebody into your home, you want to feel good about them.
Yeah, and they're so customer-centric. That was what really impressed me was they wanted to work with me and my family, whatever needs we might have.
Right. They want your home to be safe and clean. Superior Water and Air. Here's the number, 801-872-8483, or go to superiorwaterandair.com.
I'm Utah tax attorney Jordan Wilcox. Don't face the IRS alone.
I was self-employed, and I got behind on my taxes. And then 1 year became 2 years and 3 years, and $116,535.47 to be exact. It just became overwhelming. Finally, I went to another tax company, and they were more interested in how good they were than helping me. I heard about Jordan and talking to the other people who'd done and been in the same situations that I was in, and their tax problems seemed just like mine. And so I went to Jordan, and it was amazing. They were able to negotiate it down to $5,200, and life became wonderful to me.
Don't face the IRS alone. You need a tax attorney that's not afraid to fight for you. Visit endtaxworry.com to schedule your free consultation. That's endtaxworry.com.
I will be forever grateful.
Do you ever miss a segment of Inside Sources or want to rehear a conversation you particularly liked? Subscribe to the Inside Sources podcast. We upload each segment and the full show every weekday afternoon. Go to kslpodcast.com or follow us wherever you get your podcasts.
Jeff Kaplan here, Xfinity Wi-Fi customer. I don't know how bad inflation's going to be in the months and years ahead, but I do know the inflation rate is 0 with the Xfinity Wi-Fi 5-year price lock guarantee. The most intelligent Wi-Fi that even fixes itself when there's a problem. Wi-Fi that hits every corner of your home, powered by fiber, built for speed. All of the benefits of the Xfinity network with 99.999% reliability and a 5-year price lock guarantee. Same price for 5 years, and this is important, no contracts, no commitments. Plus, you can get online in minutes with same-day Wi-Fi. You get everything you need. It's all included. Data, the best equipment, and the most reliable Wi-Fi. Yours within minutes, the price. Locked in for 5 years. Go to Xfinity.com or visit a store today. Xfinity. Imagine that. Restrictions apply. Select plans only.
You're still glowing, flirting, grooving. You've still got it. But your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight illnesses like pneumococcal pneumonia and RSV. Vaccines are a key part of any health routine and can help protect you from getting really sick. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. See more at PfizerForAll.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Hey, John, why so glum?
I just got let go. The company's downsizing. This is the 3rd time in the last 2 years. I'm done with this.
Have you thought about My Computer Career? I've heard they can train you for a career in IT in just a few months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI. And you don't need prior training or experience. Now that's a recession-resistant career.
Wow, thanks. I'll check them out.
Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation. mycomputercareer.edu, an Elite CompTIA certification partner. Financial aid is available to those who qualify, including VA benefits.
Getting help with electrical repairs is easier than you think. All you have to do is call Any Hour Services or schedule an appointment at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
An expanded Inside Sources.
So the weather around the state looks pretty nice and warm for the long Pioneer Day holiday weekend. And that means, of course, many people are going to be outside.
We talked about a lot of different kind of outdoor activities and outdoor safety a few times this season already, but we continue to have deaths in our great outdoors. This last weekend was just awful.
It was
There
awful.
certainly seem to be some deaths that are almost just random, and a lot of situations can be preventable with just a little extra care and preparation.
So before you get outside for the 3-day weekend, we want to talk about outdoor safety again.
Yeah, and so we have with us Steve Bullock, law enforcement major with the Division of Outdoor Recreation. Steve, thanks for joining us this morning.
Happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
So I wonder if we could just start, maybe not with boating because we've done that, but I wanted to talk about hiking and camping safety. I sometimes feel like we hear, people had to be rescued. In fact, we talked with Search and Rescue yesterday because they were underprepared for the type of hiking that they were that they made a decision to do. So can you just start by telling us some basics about hiking safety?
Yeah, so Utah has changing weather conditions. Right now, we've got the monsoon season upon us. We had some recent flash flooding that unfortunately took the lives of a family. We see that every year, unfortunately. Those seems to kind of be random situations, but those can be preventable as well by watching the weather, looking at the skies, planning ahead for flash flood watches, those type of things. If you're planning on hiking outside, say in St. George, it's 110 degrees down there in this kind of heat. Even Salt Lake City is seeing a lot of heat. So take water, don't hike in the heat of the day. If you're going to hike earlier in the day. If you're out hiking, take frequent rest, make sure you're telling other people where you're going, have a plan. Not all the places we go hiking have good cell phone communication. So, take that into account. Try to have, the kind of gear and equipment that you would need to have to support yourself, and let people know when you're planning on moving back.
Steve, a lot of people think that we live in the desert and that everything's a big drought right now, but these flash flood storms can come up in a hurry. And I don't know what to do except just to be aware that there's a flash flood warning in effect. And that's information that should be available to most people as they go into the hiking environment, right?
Yeah, those are common on most cell phone apps. There's weather watches and flash flood warnings that happen for the areas that you're located in. But looking at the skies, especially in southern Utah, it can be raining 5 miles away and that flash flood can hit you. So you kind of need to be aware of those things. And this time of year is especially concerning. If you're in that type of a situation and you start to see some rain or you start to see the water rising, get out of narrow canyons and seek higher ground, right? That's the best you can do. I've taken my family on some slot canyon adventures in the past, and I was constantly scanning as we were looking along, saying, "Hey kids, can you climb up that hill right there?"
Right.
And they didn't know I was asking that. And they're like, "Yeah, I can do that." And then they have a little side adventure, right? As we're kind of prepping and planning going along the way.
So I'm not much of a hiker. I'm more of a stroller, so a meanderer. But I am a camper, and I'm wondering if there are tips for safe camping besides keep your food put away so you don't attract bears.
Sure. Camping is a popular activity in Utah that happens in our deserts and our mountains. People are trying to escape the heat, so they're going to the mountains right now. We're still under extreme fire danger. There's also, potential of flooding and other kind of things that happen in those places, especially in those previous fire burn areas. We've seen the flooding you were just talking about down in Beaver. So one is there's a statewide campfire ban. I think that's still in effect. I know there's been some changing regulations on fireworks and things, but I believe campfires are still not permitted. If you can do without it. It's hot outside. So that would be one thing. A lot of times people tend in the campgrounds, moving your food away from bears. We have had some bear incidents in the past. Keeping your campsite clean. It's not the biggest concern we have in Utah as compared to some other places like Yellowstone and Glacier. ATV safety is a big one. A lot of times when people go up in the mountains to camp, they're taking ATVs. A lot of times they'll let their kids be babysat by ATVs and other things, and we see incidents that happen that way. Make sure you have adult supervision, that your kids have taken the safety course, that adults have taken the safety course, that you're wearing helmets. That's really going to be the best protection for you.
And maybe we could just pivot to boating for just a minute, Stephen. I know we have talked about this a little bit, but as our lakes and reservoirs continue to drop in volume, what does the Division of Outdoor Recreation do, and what do your local parks do to keep the boating numbers down so that we don't have this crowd of boats? I mean, are there rules in place that, and what about boaters? How do they avoid one another? What's the rule of art there?
Yeah, there's still a significant amount of boatable water in Utah. Even Lake Powell, you can really escape people, even though it's harder to access the reservoir sometimes. There is a rule of boating. It's called the speed and proximity rule. You need to be 150 feet away from another boat if you're creating any kind of a wake or above creating a wakeless speed. So use courtesy to other boaters. Fishermen are there trolling along the side, and a big wakeboard boat comes within 30 feet of them and about knocks them out of the boat. That's problematic. That's not being a good neighbor or courteous to the other people on the water. So keep your distance on the water, slow down, move over. Those are kind of the things you can do there. As far as like carrying capacities, some reservoirs have a certain number of boats that are allowed on the water at certain times, but usually that's governed by parking and boating access. So it can be a little bit more crowded, but it's a limited resource. We want people to be able to try and enjoy it as much as they can. Our rangers on the water are at our state parks, at our other boating water reservoirs, counties and National Park Service and other officers on the water as well. So just remember to make sure you have your safety equipment on board. And the biggest thing about boating, to prevent those accidents. We don't see a ton of collisions, but we do see a lot of fatalities and drownings because people don't wear a life jacket. Most commonly and most common and increasingly across the country, we're seeing a lot of non-motorized boating deaths. Paddle boarders that have a paddle, like a life jacket strapped to their boat under the webbing in the front, they fall off, it naturally pushes away. It creates a distance, and then a little bit of wind is going to push that across the water and they can't quite make it back. We also see a lot of incidents of maybe somebody swimming off the back of the boat and the boat starts to drift and they can't quite make it back. And so somebody jumps in to save them, usually successfully, but unfortunately we see a lot of instances where the rescuer becomes the victim.
Right.
So if you have a throwable life preserver, even just a throw rope, or there's square cushions that are designed for that, you can pick them up at Walmart or any boating store for $10 or $20. It's a throwable life jacket that they can grab onto and hold on, then you can boat over them to help them. Or you can take time to put a life jacket on to save yourself so that then you can save them.
Thank you for that information, by the way. I have a question about pets. So we do have a couple of little dogs and we like to take them with us. Are there any specific things that we need to be aware of? And I'm thinking really be a good neighbor for one thing, but maybe potential interactions with wildlife.
Sure. So in most locations, your pet needs to be on a leash. A lot of people like to let them run free. So keeping a pet on a leash is a good start if you're on a hiking trail or in a campground, keeping them under control. It is a violation of state wildlife law to let your animal, your pet, harass wildlife. So you as a pet owner can be responsible for those type of interactions. Although they're bound to happen, right? There's going to be a squirrel in your campground and your dogs are going to bark at it and want to chase it. Those kind of things happen. If you're on a trail and you're encouraging your animal, your pet, your dog, whatever, to try and chase deer or other wildlife, then that's problematic. As far as on the water, they do make pet life jackets.
Oh, wow.
My dogs have gone swimming and they can also get tired and worn out. And giving them a life jacket gives them a little more opportunity to cool off in the water and keep them safe.
What a great idea. Well, thanks, Steve. That was Steve Bullock, Law Enforcement Major with the Division of Outdoor Recreation. Hopefully you guys will not be too busy this weekend.
I know.
Well, you're going camping this weekend too, aren't you, later on?
Starting on Sunday, actually, yeah. We'll be up in Timpanuki where a little firebug set a fire a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
So.
Hopefully it'll be cleared out and everything will be good.
Hopefully.
We're going to take the Sprinter up to a Smith Morehouse area. Rebecca got us a little camping spot up there. So just for one night, because unlike you, I have to be back to work next Monday. You're taking some time off, deservedly so.
It doesn't happen often, but it does happen. So anyway, that was a fun conversation and I think important. And I asked about the pets because I saw a video online of somebody whose little dog's, not very big one, not leashed, starting to go after a bear. Like, maybe don't do that.
Yeah, bad for him. Anyway, hey, when we come back on Inside Sources, an interesting report I saw, a number of Americans shoplifting, the number is way up. But it's not the kind of shoplifting you may have done as a teenager. A lot of people that are stealing things off the shelves are stealing everyday essentials. When we come back, we'll talk about that. Stay with us.
11:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Heather Peterson. KSL's top local story this hour. Utahns are legally allowed to start lighting off fireworks again today ahead of Pioneer Day. But some cities are partially or fully banning fireworks after Utah Governor Spencer Cox said he would leave it up to them.
The Wasatch Front has not had much moisture at all. We're still as bad or maybe worse than we were on July 4th in some cities. Much better off in others. We have
Salt Lake City, Logan, Bountiful, Sandy, Tooele, Eagle Mountain, and Ogden are just some of those who have decided to fully ban fireworks this week. An emergency water shutdown is in effect for part of Summit County. Mountain Regional Water says staff is working with the St. Moritz Terrace area. They say the Park Ride Estates and nearby residents will experience low water pressure or sometimes no flow at all until about 5 p.m. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. President Trump attended the dignified transfer of 4 service members who were killed in the Middle East. One still hasn't been positively ID'd. ABC's Luis Martinez reports.
Sergeant Angel Rempersad. She is believed to be deceased. What we do know is that 3 soldiers were impacted by a missile attack on their base in Jordan on Friday night, but 2 of them were immediately recovered, but a set of remains was recovered later, but could not be possibly identified at the location. That's why the Army is saying she was believed to be deceased. The 4th soldier, Michael Swinton, he died during the detonation of a drone that had landed at a base in northern Iraq.
One of the service members who was killed was First Lieutenant Tyler Feehan, a 25-year-old who went to Southern Utah University. Your money at this moment, the Dow is up 70 points, the S&P up 8, and the NASDAQ is down 26 points. Coming up, more rain and more 100-degree days in our future. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time, 11:31.
Mornings are for recharging.
And they're for starting your day right.
We volunteer to join you in the car. Get news and weather at 102.7 FM during the most important part of your day.
Andy and Amanda, each morning between 5 and 9 on KSL News Radio.
Hey, Doug, what is it that you do? 'Cause everybody's buying a car from you. Hey, Doug.
Doug Smith Subaru is a proud recipient of the 2026 Subaru Love Promise Heart Award. Come find out why at Doug Smith Subaru in American Fork.
Hey, Doug.
Hey, Mammoth fans. The 2026-27 season tickets are on sale now. Be there for every goal, every hit, and every moment of the next season. Season ticket members get the best seats, the best value, and exclusive perks all season long. Call or text 801-325-PUCK. That's 801-325-PUCK to reserve your seats today. Don't miss a moment next season. Tusk's up.
The United States is facing a mental health crisis, but there is hope. At Huntsman Mental Health Foundation, they're transforming how mental health is treated and researched, bringing compassion, innovation, and access to those who need it most. Your donation helps fund life-saving care and cutting-edge research that leads to better treatment for everyone. It's already making a difference. Huntsman Mental Health Foundation has built Utah's first ever mental health crisis care center, open 24/7 to anyone, regardless of ability to pay. They've also recently launched a youth crisis care program at Huntsman Mental Health Institute, giving kids and teens immediate support. And Huntsman Mental Health Foundation is expanding services like therapy, medication management, geriatric care, and treatment-resistant support. Join us. Be part of the change. Donate today at hmhf.org. That's hmhf.org.
Is the volatility of the stock market driving you crazy? Is your retirement account sinking, yet you're getting older and you're starting to worry about, will I have enough for retirement? What about the money in the bank? These banks pay nothing these days. How do we get growth to get to retirement account? It's simple. Move into gold and silver. Want to know how to do it? Listen to my show, Striking Gold, with me, Kenny Michaels.
Now on Saturday at 5 p.m.
Thursday, join KSL News Radio and NPS from 10 to 1 as the movie show stops by. Then browse and uncover what makes NPS so great. With 4 locations, NPS takes in new inventory every day. Then they check all competitors' retail pricing before marking items down 20 to 70% off. You're invited to visit the movie show Thursday from 10 to 1, and that's the first step to discovering NPS. Visit npsstore.com to begin your own NPS adventure. npsstore.com.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by UCCU. Learn how to save more this summer at uccu.com. Here's Cormac Bone.
No delays or accidents on I-15. We had a disabled vehicle for a second in Murray on I-15, but that quickly cleared off the road. Really, the worst of our delays is out in Erta. These are residual delays on southbound SR36 approaching Erta Way, where there was a crash earlier this morning. Still some heavier congestion there. Make your summer plans more rewarding with double points on gas and groceries using your rewards visa from Cyprus Credit Union. Learn more at cypruscu.com. Cormac Bone in the KSL Traffic Center.
high of 92 with thunderstorms possible this afternoon into this evening. After that, temps are on their way up. 94 tomorrow, 99 on Friday, and then we're up to the hundreds for the next couple days starting on Saturday. Right now, it's 81 and mostly cloudy. I'm Heather Peterson from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
You know, we're going to talk about shoplifting, and I think a lot of people would not want to admit it, but a lot of people, maybe more people than not, have shoplifted at least once in their lifetime. And I was a little surprised when I asked Holly, well, tell me about your experience. She says, I've never shoplifted.
I said as an adult. So when I was a kid, I did take a candy bar once, and I'm pretty sure I got caught, and my mom made me take it back. But I've never shoplifted as an adult. So when I saw this story, this is kind of crazy and a little sad to me. So Lending Tree is a financial organization, but they did some surveys, and they've been doing these annually. What they found is that 30% of Americans say that they've shoplifted in the last year.
That number shocks me.
Yeah.
30%, and they said that's worse than last year, which was 24%. That number shocks me.
That's a huge increase,
A fourth
though.
of Americans shoplift?
Yeah.
But that tells me that if you're doing security at a store, just watch anybody. You don't have to sort of target people, or
it's
you
almost 1 in 3.
One in 3 people are going to shoplift if you watch them close enough.
And here's I think what's even more telling and disturbing is that 90% of the people, and these are, by the way, these are people who admit to it on a survey.
Sure, right.
90% of the people who said that they shoplifted said that they're doing it because of economic pressures.
Yeah, that surprises me as well, because my experience as an attorney, not as a shoplifter, is that it's a rare person that shoplifts. Now, I'm trusting Lending Tree if this is what they say, and people shoplift out of I don't know, like they get some sort of a charge out of it, some sort of a
I know that
it's
can
a
happen.
rush out of it, but I don't sense that people do it because they're for financial, unless they're stealing something of value like a watch or something that they can sell. But it's not like, boy, I can't afford shampoo this week, I'm going to go steal some. That does happen apparently, more than you think.
But this is the most common, and that's why
Right.
it's so I think important to talk about. You're seeing some real economic pressures when shoplifters are saying the most common thing they're taking is food.
Yeah, right.
This food. And then the next most common thing, well, food and non-alcoholic drinks. Next most common thing are clothing, accessories or jewelry, and then personal hygiene. Those are the things that are the normal everyday essentials largely that people are taking.
And it seems
even
like
school supplies.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of people that go to a store, let's say they're buying food, they'll buy some and steal some. You know, the prices are so bad that they don't just go fill up a bag and run out the door. Some do, but a lot of people are trying to get away with what they can and just pay for what they can afford.
It's sad. And when I was on Morning News talking about this story that we were going to talk about, Amanda Dixon asked me, why do people do this? Why do they not go to maybe a local food bank or a food pantry? And while I don't have a question, I don't have an answer for the why necessarily, and there can be many different reasons, but sometimes going to food pantries, food banks, other places where you can get school supplies, for example, there are a lot of people getting ready to donate school supplies as the school year is getting ready to kick off. Some of it has to do with shame, feeling like you don't want to be there. And I have volunteered in a local food pantry down in Utah County, and part of what I did as a volunteer intake worker was sit with people while they cried and said, I don't want to be here. I'm so embarrassed. And I felt like I wanted to just give them a hug and reassure them,
Right.
You're welcome here. That's why we have these resources available.
Well, let me tell you about shame, because going to a food pantry and being seen is one thing. Going to court and having your name associated with shoplifting, especially if you're a professional or you're working,
Yeah.
that's far worse in my opinion. I have people that tell me this: is there any way we can postpone court? My neighbor's here. I just can't go. I mean, that's a shame, because let's face it, most stores have security, and they don't say, "Hey, give us that product back."
Right.
They will. You see the signs. You'll be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. They have store security. They pay these people just to do nothing else but make sure people don't shoplift. And so when they catch a shoplifter, they're not going to just slap them on the wrist. They're going to prosecute a person. And shoplifting crimes are serious. It's not like they're just going to let you go. They're misdemeanor. They're crimes.
Yeah.
It's not like a speeding ticket. It's a crime, and it's a crime that is punishable. Based on the value of the property you've stolen. So if you steal a $1,000 item, it's punished more seriously than if you steal a $2 item, even though a $2 item is still a crime. And it goes up if you have prior. It's what we call an enhanceable offense. So shoplifters,
if you've done it before,
and it goes back 10 years.
Wow.
So I tell people, just because it's been 5 or 6 years since you shoplifted, you're not going to get a freebie. They're going to look back.
Wow. This lendingtree.com is where I found it. I actually found it on CBS, but it linked to the survey. And so I went there. They say this, even though they talk about financial strain, it is not limited to people who have lower incomes. So their numbers are 40% of those with household incomes of $100,000 or more say they've shoplifted at least once.
I know. And those are people, Holly, that you think don't do it for financial reasons,
Right.
but they do because, man,
are they keeping up with the Joneses?
Right. They're thinking, boy, I only have $50 I want to spend today, and I need $60 worth of product.
Well,
I'm gonna have to steal some.
What's interesting too is they say 40% with household incomes of $100,000 or more, 27% of those earning less than $30,000, 29% of those earning between $30,000 and $50,000. So what they're saying, what I'm reading from that is there are people who maybe they have resources that they can get from other places, or they do not want to go to court, right? They don't want to pay fines. They can't afford it. They're not taking the chance.
Right.
Or maybe they're accessing resources. But you know what? You can go to food pantries. Where I was volunteering, there were no income requirements. Nobody asked you to put down how much you made. You just came in and said, I need help. And we were there to help.
Yeah, and I would just say, really, in terms of the whole shame thing, going to court is far more problematic to people who have that problem, the shame bug, than just going to a food pantry. I mean, I've never been to a food pantry. I should go visit one and see what they do, because I've donated, certainly. But that's something, if you're down and out, by all means, take advantage of it. And if it's for your family, who cares? There was no shame in feeding your kids by going to a food pantry.
Don't shoplift, though.
But don't shoplift. Yeah, that's when you get in trouble, because it's a crime and it stays with you.
Also,
it's not like it comes off your record automatically.
Right. I mean, don't be Javert, right?
Right. Yeah. Right.
Make sure that there are lots of resources, I think, for people. But it just really kind of felt like a little bit of a gut punch to see that people were shoplifting even school supplies as they're thinking about sending their kids back to school, and basic necessities.
Yeah.
So, okay, finally, we've already come to the end of our show today. On this last segment, we're going to talk about the power of the wave. Smile and wave, boys. Smile and wave. So from royalty to little kids to BYU's own president, a simple wave can make someone's day. Need your own little smile for the day? Stick around for our last segment.
4 weeks may sound like a long time, but it really is not. Not when it comes to the amount of change you can have through Soda Diet and Nutrition in just 4 weeks.
4 weeks. And Soda is doing something amazing. I don't think they've ever done this before, Andy.
I can't think of it.
They're giving away 4 weeks for free. So just think about this. By, around the end of summer, you could have drastic change. You'll feel better in your clothes. You'll have more energy. You'll be sleeping better, all because of Soda.
Healthier, more confident, free from chasing an expensive fix, because it doesn't involve any drugs. It doesn't involve anything crazy. It's just relearning how to eat and working step by step with a degreed nutritionist who guides you the entire way.
I lost 37 pounds in 3 months. You lost how much?
70 pounds in 5 months.
Get 4 weeks for free. Just call 866-800-SODA and mention KSL.
or go to SOTA, S-O-T-A, dietandnutrition.com, because SOTA is, say it with me, Amanda,
State of the art.
More than 50 million Americans suffer from a form of mental illness.
And Utah isn't immune, with nearly 1 in 3 people dealing with anxiety, depression, or another form of mental illness.
But there's hope. We can all take action to keep ourselves and our loved ones safe.
That's why KSL has teamed with the Huntsman Mental Health Foundation to bring you hope and help you thrive.
It's Healthy Mind Matters.
Find out more at healthymindmatters.com.
Kitchen and bath transformations start with AMC Building Materials. AMC Building Materials is a large kitchen cabinet and countertop supplier serving both wholesale and retail customers. AMC offers factory direct pricing on all interior remodeling materials, giving you exceptional value without sacrificing quality. Most standard items are available for quick payment and pickup right away. AMC Building Materials provides professional service, free design, and free on-site measurements, along with expert installation by top AMC professionals. From bold kitchen designs to beautiful functional bathrooms, AMC delivers outstanding value with styles you'll love. And best of all, most projects can be completed within just 10 days. Come experience beauty you can see, quality you can feel, and service you can trust. Get directions to the new AMC Building Materials showroom at 3678 South 700 West today and schedule your free estimate. Visit amckitchenslc.org. That's amckitchenslc.org.
And Doug. Limu and I created a trick to help you remember that you can customize your car insurance and save with Liberty Mutual. You see, the shirts Limu and I wear are yellow, and yellow is the color of lemons. And lemons grow on trees, and trees provide oxygen. And oxygen helps us breathe, and breathing is how you live. And you can live more life when you save money by customizing your car insurance. I agree, Limu. It's really quite simple. Only pay for what you need at LibertyMutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Everywhere you look, things are getting more expensive. But at Consumer Cellular, we're lowering the price for those 50 and up. Now you can get unlimited everything for just $35 a line. That's $35 a month for unlimited talk, text, and data. Switch to the carrier ranked #1 in network coverage and customer satisfaction and get unlimited everything for just $35 a month. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit Consumer Cellular online or in-store today. Price includes $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. Taxes and fees apply. Data speeds reduced after 35 gigabytes. Rankings done by 2025 ACSI survey.
This is Derek Miller speaking on business. One of Utah's oldest and largest private philanthropic organizations, the George S. and Dolores Dory Eccles Foundation, has touched the lives of thousands and profoundly improved life as we know it in the Beehive State. Foundation President and COO Lisa Eccles joins us with more.
My Uncle George and Aunt Loli were dynamic, compassionate community leaders who loved Utah. That's why they created the George S. and Dolores Dory Eccles Foundation to uplift, open doors of opportunity, and improve the quality of life in Utah. 67 years later, the foundation partners with more than 400 nonprofits each year to make a meaningful difference in every corner of our state. Whether it's building a much-needed University of Utah hospital in West Valley City, funding a mobile food pantry in Fairview, protecting our incredible landscapes, or supporting, yes, a second Winter Olympics. We're so proud to say we're completely committed to Utah now and in perpetuity. Moving forward, we're honored to continue building on a legacy of working together with all of you to benefit our families, our future generations, and all of us who call Utah home.
By awarding more than $1 billion in grants since its founding, the George S. and Dolores Dory Eccles Foundation has had a lasting impact on Utah, its economy, and its people. To learn more, visit gsecklesfoundation.org. I'm Derek Miller with the Salt Lake Chamber, speaking on business.
Any Hour Services can make sure your AC keeps you cool this summer. Whether you need a tune-up, repair, or just a second opinion about replacing it, call Any Hour Services or visit anyhourservices.com.
Inside Sources.
So first of all, I fell down on the job because we needed to have our producer pull the sound. That smile and wave, boys, smile and wave, because we're talking about the power of a simple wave that can really change your day. And if it comes from a stranger, it might be a little weird or a little confusing.
Yeah, the president of BYU, Shane Reese, said these simple waves have really helped him connect with others, even people he doesn't know. He apparently just waves at people all the time while he's driving his car.
He does, and this is a really fun story in the Deseret News by our friend Jason Swenson, who's been a friend of our show. But President Reese lives down in Mapleton, which is in Utah County. It's down kind of around Springville. And so he says that he was challenged in a church meeting, basically everybody, to create more connection within the community. And so he does it by waving. So he waves at people while he drives, and not very many people wave back, but some people do.
And some people are probably wondering what he's doing. Well, that's what would bother me a little bit. I mean, I wave at people too. Like if someone lets me in traffic, I'll give them a little wave. Or if I'm at a four-way stop and, hey, it's your turn, I'll wave somebody. Or sometimes you just, a car's approaching you and there's just something about it. You kind of just give them a wave, just like, hey,
but that's
how you doing?
different. I
know,
think
but
that's
I don't just wave at everybody.
the universal signal for saying thank you.
Right.
And this is trying to wave at people, so he does it all the time. He does have days where nobody waves back, and his kids call it an O for, right? An O for like however many waves he did, right? So I joked to you in the break that Jason Swinson did not ask him, or if he did, he didn't include it in his article, how many flip-offs he
How many
gets.
people gave him a bad wave back? I mean, good for him. I don't know that I'm going to pick up on that trend, but I appreciate doing. I would say a simple wave from somebody is a good thing. I mean, it's an acknowledgement. It's hey, I'm your friend. I'm not here to cause you problems. If people waved, we would have no road rage. If people just waved at each other.
I think it's, I mean, because it is different, my first response would be I'd probably wave back, and then I would try and rack my brain of how I knew that person. Because,
what does he know?
Because I don't know. Right. I don't know if I know that person. Right. But he also said, look, get outside yourselves. Waving at people for him is one way of creating a little bit of connection. So even if people don't wave back, he feels like he's more connected to his community. And I just thought that was a really fun story.
And his kids are aware of it. They're
yeah.
Like, Dad,
they do
Dad,
it too.
Waving.
Yeah, they do it too.
Good for him.
All righty. We have some fun facts of the day. Today is actually Mango Day. I love eating mango. And I have to tell you that I thought I hated it, because I had only had it in the United States, and it was hard, it was crunchy, and it tasted like pine needles. Well, that's not how you're supposed to eat mango, come to find out. And so when I ate it in Africa and it was fully ripe, it was like, this is amazing.
Oh.
So I love mango.
Kinda.
Only ripe mango. I do not like unripe mango. It tastes like a pine tree.
Okay.
Okay, so it was on this day that Emma Lazarus was born, and you probably know her as the author of The New Colossus, which is the poem that's on the base of the Statue of Liberty. She was Jewish, and she was born in 1849. She died before the turn of the century. But remember these words, right? Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free, the wretched refuse of your teeming shore. Send these, the homeless, tempest-tossed to me. I lift my lamp beside the golden door. I think we should still live by that. I really, really do.
I did not know until this minute that was called the New Colossus.
Yeah. She wrote it specifically for the Statue of Liberty.
Yeah.
Almost made me emotional there.
Yep. Good for her.
It was on this day in 1890 that Rose Fitzgerald Kennedy was born. So she was the mom of JFK, RFK, and Ted Kennedy, if you remember that. And speaking of poets, it was on this day in 1893 that American author and professor Catherine Lee Bates wrote the lyrics to America the Beautiful, which I think could be a national anthem.
Yeah, it could be. And she was inspired by the view from atop Pikes Peak.
Yeah, that's right. You're right. Thank you for reminding me of that. It was, speaking of mountains, it was on this day in 1898, so just a few years later, that Miriam Underhill was born. She became a mountaineer and an environmentalist. She was in the first all-women ascent of the Matterhorn in 1932, so she would have been, 34 years old. She developed, and I'm putting this, what they called it, manless climbing. It was all-women climbing groups. And I've seen early photos of female climbing groups. They wore dresses.
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
my daughter does a lot of female-only ski touring and ski classes and things like that. It's fun.
Okay, I'm going to give you another fun fact. Maybe this is for people who do Thanksgiving dinner. But this was in 1926, Dorcas Riley was born. So you may not know her name.
I do not.
But you probably know her food because she worked at the Campbell's Test Kitchen and created green bean casserole. The green beans with the
green
soup
bean
and
casserole,
the
yep.
and the onions, crispy onions on the top. That was Dorcas Riley's invention.
Good for her.
It was also on this day in 1937 that the U.S. Senate rejected FDR's proposal to enlarge the Supreme Court. He was going to pack the court because they were ruling against him.
I wonder what the size was then, or is it like it is today?
I think it was like it was today, although I couldn't find out. Yeah. And then my final fun fact before you do your closing arguments is that it was on this day in 1991 that Jeffrey Dahmer, cannibal and serial killer, was finally caught.
Boy, and that one was a tough one.
Gross.
I taught for a couple years at the College of District Attorneys, and one of our speakers one year was the prosecutor of Jeffrey Dahmer. And of course, he had to share details of that, which we won't
Thank you,
today.
no thank you.
But I mean, we had, who was it? That Arthur Gary Bishop. We've had some real creep shows
we
in
have.
Utah too. I've been involved in a couple of them, but
Ted Bundy.
that one was awful. Hey, but I want to follow up with one thing, and then I want to talk about another. We mentioned earlier today that we were going to have a hearing for the West Valley City Muslim stabber. He elected not to show up in court today, and you asked our producer, can you do that? The answer is yes. This is America. You can do just about anything. But so what happens is this, and you can't always do it. They come and get you, and you're in the jail, and you go, I'm not coming to court today. They'll say, okay, we'll see you tomorrow. Seriously, that's what they'll do. And they'll go tell the judge, Mr. Allen, whatever his name is, chose not to go to court today. And the judge will say, okay, let's see what happens tomorrow. And then eventually the judge will say this. The judge will say, you are authorized to use reasonable force to get them to court. But they don't just do that on their own. The judge will say, it's usually like on a 3 strikes thing, you are authorized to use reasonable force to get them to court, which means you can use reasonable force. In other words, whatever it takes
you can pick him up and put him in the
whatever
car.
it takes to get him to court. Yep, you can pick him up, you can move him around, you can do what you need to do. And I've seen people that got to court after having been the beneficiary of reasonable force, and you can tell that somebody messed up their hair on the way to court. So, I tell people this, my clients, I didn't want to go to court. Like, eventually you're going to come to court, and every day that you don't is a day that you're sitting in jail, and you don't necessarily get credit for that. If you're
no time served.
If you're playing the system, they're not going to give you credit for that. So, even going to court is better than sitting in a jail cell for an extra week. And it's not like we'll see you in an hour. It's like, okay, we'll come back in a week. Anyway, that just bothers me when people don't go to court, because ultimately they're going to have to, and people do it all the time. I wanted to talk about shoplifting. We've only got a minute left, and I want to say this. I can't stress enough the fact that food pantries are there. Please don't have shame in going to a food pantry. Please don't have shame in asking a friend or family member or somebody to help you with food when you're down and out. Because, and I'm not saying there's shame in going to court either, but the shame in going to court is that you did something wrong. Mm-hmm. You did something bad. Going to a food bank is not bad. It's not wrong. It's certainly not wrong. And it may be a little embarrassing because you're down on your luck and you may not want people to know that. But boy, shoplifting means not only were you down on your luck, but you made a bad decision. And I'm not saying shoplifters are bad, because we all know people that have done it, and people that we love and care about have done it. But I'm just saying that the alternative, if the alternative is